It is cold in here.
Everybody's got names for this guy.
It's Joey Shivers, Neil. What is up? Greetings and salutations, beautiful people. Welcome to the midday show. I'm not gonna do it, Joey. I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it. Shout out to my boy Joey Shivers. Welcome to everybody, guys. Been a hell of a morning here on the markets. Where are the people at? Let's go, YouTube. We are waiting. People need to trade. Bring them in quicker, YouTube. Let's go. Hossman, Travis Martin. We got the OG Gora. We got Pan, Freddie, 5,000. Shout out to Levi Corbett and Ben, Jacques, Jeremy, Vern, Britt. We got Bora. We got Kevin, Scott H, small cap gapper, trader extraordinaire. We got Vinci Life, something or another. Merc Zimis, Yaz, Showtime, Super, no, yes, Jamie. We got Jamie. BD Show, we got Sahil. Roger, Bayard, Justin, Rosie Gray Glasses, BTC, she says, or he says, who knows. Danko, we got Durant, we got Jameis Willis, Tony McCormack, Frank Larkin. Where are the new names? Let's go. Daniel L, Afterstar. I'm seeing a lot of new names today. I really like it. Mike, the Stock Impaler. We got Big, oh wow, okay, I'm not gonna say that one. Smile Alley, well, we got Dad Coin, we got Isaac Davis, JJ, or Dad Coin. All right, we got everybody, man. We got the Tranquil channel. If you're looking for Tranquil, between Sean and I, there's not going to be any Tranquil. All right? It's just not going to work out that way, guys. No, shout out to everybody in the chat. Joseph Wilson, good morning.
Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone's having a fantastic session so far. I mean, it's been somewhat of a mixed start here. So we got some names going up, some names going down. Generally the narrative of what the stock market does. But what were we trading this morning? That was QBTS. So let's break this down here momentarily, guys. So I went short. I'm like, okay, never mind. What am I doing here? Just hop out of that. As we flush, I was out at the perfect time, and I'm like, okay, as soon as some of these pre-market highs are breached, we're punching. Okay. Get involved there at the break of that pre-market zone. Boom, boom, we take a little bit off, and then what do? We add 130%, we take some off there, and then once it comes to our break-even stop, we just hop out. But there was a nice and additional leg here, continuing to climb higher in QBTS. So it's unfortunate we didn't get the full run, but we'll take it. We got the meat of the move there, and that's something positive. We'll build off of that. I was looking at the TQs for a short, and I'm like, no, you know what? I'm just going to avoid that. I know Katina Man's been crushing it today, but back to QBTS, you can see that we have now breached this downtrend line, opening up on the 5-minute on the back side of this trend. Let's see if it's going to be a continuous slow grind. Where you ideally want to get involved in this is at the lows here, all right? So just keep that in mind. Don't necessarily want to chase. Maybe you get the retest of this level, or it could possibly establish a new lower high. And that, with that being said, you want to watch out for that stuff, all right? Also, one more thing, guys. We know we got some big-time earnings reports this evening. So make sure you tune into that. I think it's going to be Sharif and Katina Man. And Neil, yep. Okay, sounds good. But one thing to note here, let's take a look. So these are the expected moves. We'll be touching on this quite often throughout the day. And here it is. Google looking at about a 5.4% expected move with a high of around $200 and a low of around 179.64. And then the same in the likes of Tesla, 6.8%, 355 being the high, 310 being the lows. We're going to touch on the options chain momentarily, but let's see what Sharif's got cooking.
All right, guys, we're involved right now with couple of stocks. Pali, taking multiple prints on this one. Long 14, scalped up aggressively into 21. It is now back down into my entry, though. PALI is the ticker. Be careful with this one. So this was coming from south of VWAP, and what I see here is an aggressively lower high pattern. In addition to the lower high pattern, look at what it does when it makes a new area high, or an area high. It doesn't have to be a daily high. This candle over here, 945, very telling, breaks out there from 107, rockets in 1 5-minute candle up to 36, drops in 1 5-minute candle from 31 all the way down into 94 pennies, loses the dollar, by the way, does the same business over here, right at this 1020 candle, rockets up from 110 all the way up to 125. The next candle, which ends up being red, actually moves up to 131, but look where it drops down to 105. So what do I mean? Why am I telling you all this? Because if this one spikes into a new area high, get ready for the reversal. It will likely reverse. If it's done it once and twice, it will likely do it. OB, he is the one thrice. So keep your eye out on that one, all right? So I'm keeping my eye on it as well. I've also involved myself here in a new trade, WOLF. This one was howling to the upside, but it has now kind of found a little bit of resistance at 2. So here's the deal. I got it initially at 2, but I have my planned DCAs, planned dollar cost average entries, and I'm putting them at strategic locations. First, DCA, $1.92. Why is it sitting at $1.92? Because the 10 EMA is sitting at 189. So I want to front run it. So if the 10 EMA, which has acted as support on the day, ends up being support this time around, I want to front run it with a buy order. But I have another DCA. Why? Because the 10 EMA is just one area of possible support. The other one that I use often, if you've been watching the show for a while, is the volume weighted average price. That's sitting at 183. So I front run that with a $1.85 order. So let's see what we get. We're close to getting filled on that 192 order. WOLF, it's up 38 some odd %. Having trouble though with that $2 area. Let's go back over here and take a gander at PALI. So I got a quick scalp there into 15s to de-risk, but really looking for that continuity at least into the quarter dollar. What I'm expecting, in all honesty, with Pali is a lower high. Okay, I just don't know exactly where the lower high is going to be. I mean, how would I know? I'm not Nostradamus. So we're looking for a spike into the low 120s. I feel that that is a reasonable expectation given the previous area lower high. So that we're going to keep an eye out on that. Let's go back quickly to my other friend Wolf, still unfilled on that one. We got 01s, it's showing me 97s. There's a lot more going on, Joey, so I'm just going to show them the side charts real quick so we can let them know exactly what's popping off here. So PALI, I've already talked about that. CTOR, I'm 0 for 1 on that. Full disclosure, we're negative on CTOR. I tried to take a pullback into the volume weighted average price. It didn't hold. Didn't hold VWAP, didn't hold the 10 EMA. This one likely will lose its spot on the side chart quite soon. So will RGC. Because it's breaking down below VWAP. This pleases me. So those two are on the fritz. But INMB, guys, is continuing to go. Not big percentage mover on the day, 20 1/3%. But look at that, just absolute respect for the 10 exponential moving average on the 5. Alas, it is putting in a topping tail candle right now, awfully close to that $3 psychological level that we could encounter selling at. A pull into the 10 EMA, I'm a buyer, just full disclosure. And then ATYR, full disclosure, we can't trade this on our system, don't know why. Trades on the Nasdaq, should have permissions, I'll throw in a ticket. But in any event, it is also putting in higher highs and higher lows to the tune of 32.5%. This one can get going. And the pullbacks haven't been as aggressive as the moves up, save and except for this topping tail candle. And at 935, right? I mean, you expect volatility at the open. If you're not going to get volatility at the open, then you got another thing coming, baby. You got to definitely expect that. So I'm going to keep my eye on that one. And then HIMS, which is obviously a derivative of HIMS. This is HIMZ or Z for my American friends there. This is also looking like a buy program here, Joey, where the last time it basically touched the 10 EMA was at 930. So it hasn't been at the 10 exponential moving average at all as of late. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. And last but not least here, certainly not least, VYNE up 19 2/3%, a little light on volume, okay? But I do like the double bottom into that $1.30, finding support at the volume weighted average price, a predictable area that you could be setting up resting orders at. Let's see if we can take out that high Vado. All
right, good look there, guys. All right, so I want us to focus on these quote highlights here on the level 2. You can see we have a slight imbalance on the ask, and as we start to fill these immediates and we climb higher on the ladder, I want you to focus on that 1945. Sorry, there's a little bit of a supply zone, but if we have the ability to absorb that, I think we can break through this high of the day, and that's kind of the thesis behind this trade here, guys, is that we can absorb this and continue to climb higher. The volume did start to expand, as you see. We break out, we join it on that front, and there it is, a clean flush on the ask, and now we're starting to head into this zone. And these are the orders that I was referring to. That's quite some size through 145, and if we break through this, I think we have the ability to squeeze and go through through the high of the day. So that's the objective. This is exactly what I was looking for, and I'm glad that those immediate asks started to get filled. And you've seen that clean flush on the time of sales as well. And there we go, bang. We'll take it right there. And look at the imbalance. Look at the imbalance on the level 2 here, Sharif. This is exactly what you want to see for a strong order book. Beautiful. If you're looking for the move to the top side. Yes, it's a supply zone, but now if someone wants to absorb that and believes that the price deserves to go higher, then you can see those start to get filled. But that's exactly why you use quote highlights to look for the imbalance on the book, and then you have the ability to base trades off of that as well too. So I identified that, and then now we base something there. I'm going to take a little bit off because we have rejected it, but I do believe that we're going to continue to grind higher. So I'll leave some on. We'll take 10 cents roughly, just a little bit under on that one, and we won't complain about it whatsoever.
Hey.
The way it's looking on the 5-minute, that we're going to continue to grind. And there you go. You catch another pop to the top side. We'll remove a little bit more liquidity here. Nothing substantial. Let's see if we can catch that fill. And there it is. So yeah, really good look there on QBTS. And this is what I was saying to Stevenson earlier in the day. I'm like, hey, I've been trading QBTS. Is my entry the best one? Absolutely not. Of course, in an ideal world, you would like to get it around. But I'm like, all right, let's be patient. If this is going to be a strong stock, I think there's going to be another primetime opportunity to get involved with it. I see the imbalance on the order book, and then we base a trade off of that one there. So it worked out. Obviously, nothing is 100% in trading, but that's exactly something that you want to use. And if your platform allows you to have, quote, highlights, I highly suggest you do so, because that's going to give you a lot. If you're looking for a breakout trade, a breach of a specific level, you want to be able to identify where the strength and the weakness is, and if there's a ladder leading up to those specific targets that you're looking for, and we've seen that as a prime example right there on the tape, guys. So that's what we got cooking up in QBTS. Now, I told you guys I'm in some VIX calls as well. Let's see how those work out, Sharif. I need the market to start selling, but one thing to note, the beauty about the VIX is that you have the ability to get in around the lows, right? So we'll zoom out, and head towards the daily. But here it is. How much lower can the VIX essentially go? We see it goes down to around $11 or $12. But are we in that type of environment where we're not worried about anything? Maybe, possibly, from what we're seeing from a volatility standpoint in the decay, yeah, but things can also start to ramp up as well, too. Can I be in prematurely? Absolutely, but we're still going to hold on to these, and then hopefully during earnings seasons, we see that volatility in the average true range of certain stocks start to expand, and that's going to leave the VIX up higher for us. My average is about 1608 on the VIX, so let's see if we get those big-time volatility spikes, and I mean, if we run into this top end of the zone, that's Ponyboy Golden.
All right, they're apparently shout out to Walt Winchell. Thank you, Walt, for that. As we know, Adair's on vacation today, but we do have a new IPO, and it just started trading, not just at 10:45, so it's half an hour deep. It just got into the highs. The ticker, guys, CRE. CRE is the ticker. It looks like this bad boy opened up literally at the low of day of $4, and it really hasn't looked back since. Higher highs and higher lows. It's certainly off the high of the day, guys, at 527. 527, but look at what it's doing over here. It's dropping back down into that 460 area. The only thing about this one, Assassino, is it has higher lows. And so that means the trend is still intact. CRE has just earned its way onto the side chart. We're going to take off one of these crappers that's dropping below the volume weighted average price that displeased me greatly. So we're going to keep an eye out on this one. Thank you very much, Walt Winchell, for that. But look at this one. Go, Pally. Joe, we got to do this. We got to do it, Joe.
Do it.
It's pretty. It's so pretty.
Why do I catch myself saying that these days? It's pretty. It's so pretty.
Oh, because of that. Shout out to White Man Can't Jump. Still one of my favorite movies ever, but yes, PALI, oh baby. Taking out the area highs, we're still holding a piece. I've taken out a substantial amount, good move into that 27 penny area. The high of the day is 36. Also, Wolf, we were able to scalp a little bit there. This one is suffering from resistance at $2. So that's the bad news on WOLF. The good news is, at least for the moment, we've got 4 candles in a row. Just as I say that, I love my luck. Just as I say that, I was going to say 4 candles in a row with higher lows. And as I say that, this current 5-minute candle has made a new low relative to the
It's pretty. It's so pretty.
Ooh. That's crazy.
Bro, you don't have to ever invite me. I'll stop whatever I'm doing and jam with this thing, bro. No, seriously though. So Wolf, we're waiting for this one. I'm still waiting for a 192 add. I'm still interested in adding at the 10 exponential moving average. And here it comes, coming in at 93. I just love for it to trigger me here at 92. I can chase it here, which would not be the wisest decision, or would it be? Because now it's finding support again. I'm gonna let this one cook. All right, if it wants to come trigger me. Otherwise, I just don't want to chase it another penny. We're talking about $2 stocks here, so a penny or two does make a difference with respect to your cost basis. So what's it called? Coming a little bit back down there on the 5 minute. So now we're at 92s, but there's a buyer at 92. Let's see if we can front run this a little bit. That's what I'm going to do there, and then cancel the order. There we go. Nice. Got the order quickly. So we got 97s on now. So let's go ahead and set up just a little bit below that 99 or that $2 area. We're gonna set up at 99s. So let's see what we can get on Wolf. I still want the VWAP dip though, which I canceled accidentally. VWAP now sitting at 85. So we're gonna go ahead and set, we're gonna set up at 87s, WOLF, there we go. We're gonna set up at 87. So let's go all the way down here and post at 87. So we'll see what we get there and we will not get upset. Let's load up CRE though. Where is my other trading screen? We got to load up CRE, Joey, over here. Yep. This is on the NQ. Yes, it is on the NQ. And here we go. We're having trouble with 490, but what I like about this current candle is it has higher lows, but also has lower highs. The high of this candle is essentially 489, 490. What's the spread look like? Not bad. About 5 pennies now. Not too bad of a spread. Can't really complain about that. Let's see if we can work into something here. It's just my out would have to be below the $0.50. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share small. We're going to get in small, and it's not even letting me in because of the spread. So we're going to get in small, and it's really going here, and the spread's opening up. Let's see if I can get the mid print. Oh, it's really going. Jeez, it doesn't let me. There we go. Now we got in. So where have we gone? We got in at 85s. Okay, so let's go ahead and set up. Now this poses a bit of a problem because I had to chase it. So if I had to chase it, that means I've got to give it a bit more room where I want to get out, which is the $0.50. Why the $0.50? Well, that is the current bar low, right? So let's see what we get here. Now, I don't mind dollar cost averaging into that $0.50 if it was to pull back in. So I'm going to go ahead and set up. So we're in at 85s. I'll sit at 62s, okay? Let's see if we can get something in and around that level for a possible buy if this one does dip in. So that's what I'm looking at right now, Joey. We're involved in Wolf. We're involved in CRE, which is an IPO, and we're involved in PALI. Not for long, though. On PLI, very little left.
Good look there, guys. Yeah, just to touch back on CRE here, the offering includes about 1,450,000 Class A common shares with an additional 217,500 shares available for purchase by underwriters under a 45-day option. So there you go. Get this IPO continuing to move higher with an open of around $4 and a high of around $5.24. Yep. But then also XYZ, Brando brought us this as well. Jack Dorsey, Square now lets merchants accept BTC payments, which is really big. So we'll take a look at this name, and we're starting to move to the downside. But who knows? Anything can happen, and this stock can absolutely turn around if more people catch wind of this. So a nice gap up, and then now you can see we're just consolidating in the middle of this gap here, and then maybe we can run into some more of this resistance and see if we can break some more of this downtrend. So good looks on XYZ and CRE. We're still sitting in this D wave here, QBTS, hovering around this specific area, 1935, and a nice solid base being formed. And that's kind of what we want to see, guys. So we'll be patient on this one. Hold it for the breach of the high of the day if it wants to head there, and then look for that break and hold up into 1960. But if it comes back in, then maybe we double top and it heads right back towards the volume weighted average price. But you can see the strength within this name, so we're going to continuously hammer it until otherwise. If the sentiment shifts, then we'll just hop out and find something else to trade. But yeah, the VIX heading to the downside, not the best look. Ether as well too, guys. So you can see in the first half an hour of the session, or sorry, this is the open, but then after the first couple of minutes, 15 minutes, we kind of cool off, sell off here, and then now we're just consolidating within this tight range. So we'll keep an eye out on this one in case it wants to take an additional leg lower. I have added a little bit more around these neck of the woods. I grabbed some yesterday, and then we DCA into this one because I believe this is going to be a longer term hold on ETH, but I'm really liking what I'm seeing on that one. But let's go D-Wave here. So this one's looking really, really good. We got that break right there, Sharif.
Okay.
So we're going to take a little bit more off. Bang, there it is on the 1 minute time frame. And this is what I'm talking about, the imbalance on the book. And you can still see that it's really strong on the immediate ask. So just keep that in mind. We're going to continuously hold this. It's now breached. Maybe I'll take a little bit more off at the breach, but you can see the volume drastically starting to expand here, guys. So that is some big time moves. And that's what you want to do. If it works once, take it again, because the chance of it working twice are up there, right? So long stock, strong stock. It got the upgrade this morning, and that's exactly why I was looking at this name here, Sharif.
Bang. All right, CRE. We took a bunch of prints to the high side into 5. Alas, it is coming back down, right back into our entry, but feels good to de-risk a little bit into that high. My 504 order goes unprinted. Likewise, with my dip trade waiting around that $0.50, is this current candle, even though it's ugly right now because it kind of feels like a topping tail candle, higher high and a higher low, bless you, relative to the prior candle. So let's see which way this cookie crumbles. I'm involved in this trade. I want to see it through and possibly get a nice squeeze to the upside. But it does feel, based upon the wicks and how the wicks have kind of been interacting here with the price, that $5 seller remains kind of ardent in their position. And the reason I say that is because there's been no closing prints above that $5 area, despite 4 candles having breached 5. Neither or none of those 4 have actually printed above, or closed, excuse me, above that $5 area. So I'm alive to that fact. I'm going to continue with the trade, though. Let's continue to keep an eye out on this one. I still want to get my DCA maybe a little closer to that $0.50. Now, let me think about this a little bit more. So that the area had 55. So I'm waiting at 62, right? Okay. So I'm thinking I'm going to move up my order. No, I think it's reasonable there. I think it's reasonable. I think I'm just going to leave that order the way it is. All right, now, Wolf, we've taken a couple of prints, but this one is coming back down into the 10. I still haven't gotten my DCA at the 10 at the volume weighted average price. But Wolf coming back down. We've taken 3 prints on this, but we're still holding shares here, so definitely out of the money at the moment on WOLF. Let's keep an eye, though, on PALI, man. This one continues to go higher highs and higher lows. It's really the higher lows here that is more operative, because I think we're still below that wick at 131. Maybe not for long, though. We're long 14s. It's showing me 30s now. Good move here for PALI. The high of the day is 36. So this one could, squeeze possibly here above the high of day. I think that's where I'm going to wait, actually. I'm going to wait for a high day breach. Yeah, we'll just post at 37s, and if it ends up squeezing up there, fantastic. If it doesn't, it doesn't. All right, let's go back to CRE over here, still going unprinted. There we go. Now we get the print. Now it's make or break time. So on CRE, we have 67s now as a result of the ad. So let's go ahead and post here on CRE to the high side. I'm going to also wait in the 70s, see if we can get a bump back up. But anything below that $0.50, I think gets me out of the trade, Joey, because that would be a lower high candle. It looks like it's coming back down now. This might be trouble for me. What do you got?
Good look there. Stevenson and I are talking about some calls. I'm curious, when did you buy it at? And you have the 153 call, so you have about just under 2 weeks, or a little bit. Yeah, 2 weeks or less here. Let's see, August 1st. So yeah, a week and a half. That's the thing, right? So, and it's a good lesson learned. So we'll kind of touch on what Sharif and I were doing with this CoreWeave trade. And then maybe, I don't know what the scenario was necessarily, Stevenson, with your SMCI contract here. But essentially, if you did buy that extremely out the money, you just have to understand kind of what follows that. If you're buying out the money contracts, you need it to work relatively quick. Otherwise, you're just going to lose value of the contract just alone to theta. No, I have a 53 call. Yeah, but when did you buy it is my question, because it hasn't traded at $53 for some time. So yeah, what I'm thinking here is that you bought an out the money call, but you didn't give yourself enough time in order to do so. So as you get closer to expiration, if say you bought it a month out, and within a couple weeks into expiration, theta is going to rapidly start to increase and then chew up the value of that contract. And if it doesn't start to excel relatively quick towards your strike, you're just going to lose money. So now at this point, I believe you're going to need to head to $53, and then it needs to exceed that in order for you to make any form of money. So you bought it this morning? Okay, very interesting. See, that's the thing. You gotta watch out for these, excuse me, these attractive prices on the earlier dated contracts, right? It all seems nice. Oh, I'm paying $1.50, I'm paying $1.60, but there's obviously going to be somewhat of a catch. So if this doesn't start to work relatively quick, just close the position and don't allow it to expire worthless, all right? So just keep that in mind. We'll zoom in from a 5-minute standpoint. It's not looking too bad. 51.87, there is some key resistance right here at that 52 level. So if you have the ability to breach that, I think you'll be okay. But otherwise, guys, it's a narrative that I always tell the options traders, just buy the time, buy the time, buy the time. You're already leveraging your system, so you may as well use the derivative in the vehicle correctly, all right? So just keep that in mind. If you do head up into this area, then I think you'll be okay. But coming next Friday, you might be in a little bit of a trouble if you don't continue on this trajectory here, Sharif. All
right, guys, HIMS is continuing to go. I'm looking at, why don't we have HIMZ in our system? Bro, what is happening today? It's on the Nasdaq. Oh my goodness. Nope. No, this is a derivative, Brendo. Okay, so yeah, we can't trade that one. So I'm gonna keep an eye on it. It's breaking out though, guys. 26.62. There's no red candles here. This is ridiculous. This is an obvious buy program. From 9:30 till now on the 5-minute chart, there's 4 red candles from all of these. So this is certainly very, very strong. Certainly a buyer at $26, guys. The 10 exponential on the 5 is showing me 25.50. 26.62 is the high of the day. It's up 27 and change percent. So keep your eye out on this one. This can definitely go. If you've got access to it, it's really good, really strong. Obviously a derivative HIMS, which is the real one that's running. Okay, we just got stopped out at a CRE as it lost $0.50, so we'll give back a little bit there on CRE, but I want to watch how it trades at VWAP. There is certainly some resistance here initially with the very limited data that we have at $4.30, $4.30, which also happens to conflate with the volume weighted average price. So let's see if there's buying in and around this area here on CRE at $4.30. Previous area of local resistance also happens to be the volume weighted average price. Let's see if we can possibly weasel into here, maybe give it to like 20s or something, but that was a big move down here. I want to see if this loses it before I jump into it. Now, by waiting, obviously I get a worse price, which is okay with me because we've definitely got a lot of room to move to the high side, about $1 from where we're currently trading and the high of the day. Jeez Louise. Randy. All right, so it is finding a little bit of support here. So let's see if we can possibly chase this one into the said high. Does it let us in? It does. So we'll give it to current bar low being 422. So we'll go ahead and set up a stop, Joey, at 419. What do you got?
Good look there, guys. All right, so here it is. We got all out of QBTS at that breach of the high of the day. It was actually accidental. I meant to just take a little bit off, but it closed the full position. So it's nice when everything works in your favor because you can see that we're starting to come back in towards VWAP. So keep that in mind. The Q's still steady grinding higher, all right? So I'm kind of surprised by this. It's been back-to-back sessions where the first 15 minutes, a half an hour, have been flushes to the downside, and then it's just been a slow grind and chop to the east side. So keep that in mind. Here's the definitive base, guys. So it's not a coincidence that we've been bouncing off this $86 level multiple times and then now starting to rebound. Where can it be at a next potential resistance zone? That is going to be at those pre-market lows. So keep an eye out for a small grind towards those levels, but also monitor the volume profile. Look how it's stair-stepping down. So if I see any form of indecision, that's going to tell me the bulls are relatively weak, and then you can maybe potentially look for a fade. I'm not going to be shorting too many names today because I told myself, hey, we're going to look for the longs. We're stronger. We have more data collected on that front, and we're going to go with what we know best, all right? Even if it does set up pretty good, I need to have an A++++ set up in order for me to take that trade. But these slow grinds to the top side are slightly dangerous and can definitely lure you into potential shorts. And then we have examples like yesterday where Tesla does that massive dump when we had those couple volatility spikes, and then goes on an all-day grind. Same with the likes of Google as well too. So just keep that in mind. It's really tough to short this market right now for me, in my opinion, because the laggards are starting to play catch up. And who am I referring to?
Who?
Google and Amazon. So they're really playing catch up big time. I talked about that 181 breakout here on Google. I'll pull it up momentarily. And essentially the stock hasn't looked back. It's been on an X amount of days of green streaks, so you don't necessarily want to go against this. So boom, that 181 break, and then you get a move all the way into 192. Now we're only about 5% off of those all-time highs. All right, come on, please be good to me. Please be good to me. There we go. All right, 8%, right? 8% there on Google off those all-time highs. We're looking at a 7% expected move on the earnings report. So what can that lead us? If we exceed the expected move to the top side, what's going to happen with Google? All-time high, Sharif. So that's going to be a really, really potentially good look. I told you there's two major metrics that I'm going to be looking at. Cloud growth and how much market share OpenAI has stolen from them for their search. That's all I'm really curious about. CapEx, whatever. I'm not too worried about that, but cloud growth, yeah, it's cap, eh? Damn.
It's good. It's CapEx cap.
Yeah, CapEx cap. So hopefully you don't cap on the CapEx. You know what I mean? So, but I know, these guys are spending a lot of cash, but those are the two main things that I'm going to be looking forward to, and I'm excited to see what's going on. And the same thing in the likes of Amazon. What is AWS doing? Does it beat the street's estimates on growth? If so, we're only 5% off of the all-time highs, and I think if we do exceed it to the top side, then I know they're not reporting tonight, but whenever they do, probably sometime next week, we're only 6.5%. Solid report. You're at all-time highs. What's that going to do to the Qs? Drag it even higher, guys.
Well said, Joey. I happen to agree with that. We'll cover obviously the expectations for a lot of these aftermarket earnings plays when we do the news shortly, guys. All right. In CRE here, I was able to scalp a couple of little outs there into the $0.50. It's still, I don't know, man. I don't know. This one's it feels like it's gonna drop. So we'll see how this one does. We're involved in it, so come what may here. It's still above the volume weighted average price, but not really finding the kind of support you'd expect at VWAP or a previous area of resistance. So CRE, the IPO, a little dicey right now. We're already negatory on it. Now, what we're doing well on is PALI. So I punched back in, added into PALI on the retracement. I'm looking for higher lows here and to continue kind of that strength. Already a couple of scalps already on after the ad, that is. We'll see if this one's got the juice to take out that 130. There's certainly been selling at 130, but it is putting in what I perceive to be an ascending wedge pattern, which is very bullish, aka a flat top break, that flat top being essentially 130. We'll see if we can get that strength through the level or what the deal is there. All right, Wolf coming back on the radar over here. I'm in at 94s. It's showing me 91s now, so we're a little out of the money on WOLF, but looking for this one to hold VWAP and pump back up. It's still above the volume weighted average price and has a higher low. So I'm seeing this area low into 180. We're still a little bit above that, printing 189 right now. Okay, so it's make or break time here, Joey. I don't know what I'm going to do with this CRE because CRE is right back into the volume weighted average price. It's got lower highs on a bunch of straight candles right there. The only thing kind of keeping me in the trade is that we have a higher low versus relative to the prior bar, which is around 422. So this is a bit concerning right now on CRE. Not much left for me in terms of patience on that one. We're going to take it out if it ends up dropping. So PALI, give me a topping tail candle over here. And now we're a little bit out of the money after scalping and adding on PALI. It drops back down below my entry. So I want to keep my eye on this one. Anything below 110.
Sharif,
go ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Palantir is really starting to move to the top side. Palantir is moving, and you can see the volume starting to expand as well. Thank you for the chat for pointing that out. That's the beauty of it. Blast off Palantir.
When did it start blasting off? Give me time.
Yeah, about 10 minutes ago or so. The volume really started to pick up, but it's been relatively strong. You can see the genuity and the strength within these bullish prints here, guys. Consolidation, boom, volume sustained, and what happens? You continuously grind higher. So that's some strong signals. But keep in mind, we tap right into this pre-market high right here, Sharif, and reject it to the penny. 151.50, we'll call it 151. We'll call it that. But here, you remember that song?
No.
Really?
No.
Wow. All right, man. Ow, that was a little lackluster. Everybody remembers 150 going wrong. All right, but yeah, Palantir looking really good here, guys. Let's zoom out and see what we got going on from a daily. You definitely want to wait for the pullback and keep an eye on the volume profile. So as we're starting to pull back and you're starting to see the volume slowly start to decay, that can give you a good opportunity to get in around the lows. And then if the volume steps back into the top side, then you're going to be laughing and having a really good time. You're going to be pizzaing when you're supposed to be pizzaing, and pizzaing, and then French frying when you're supposed to French fry. But anyways, not too far off of those all-time highs here, guys. Let's see. We're only a couple percentage marks. We don't need that, but there's a couple names that I do want to focus on. I know someone was talking to me about Circle, and but I want to talk about Robinhood momentarily, and then I want to talk about Coinbase. All right? So here you can see displayed, we just go on this absolute monster run from the April lows. Big time move from the trough there up to where the previous peak was, 289%. But I just want you to focus on the indecision print at an extreme high. I was like, oh wow, okay, so you have this gap up day, you push price higher, and then it eventually closes flat. All right, so that's a big time positive short signal right there. And we're gonna see it on a couple of the names here. Look at Coin, the exact same signal. You gap up, you push price higher. The bears have the ability to push price to break even, and then you have a couple down days. So those are some key signals that we're looking for at extreme highs and extreme lows that can give you some good setups. And considering that it's been on a slow, steady grind higher, guess what? Pug Life just brought this up. The chances of the at-the-money IB are going to be relatively cool, so you're not going to be paying out the wazoo for premium, all right? But now, as you start to move lower,
don't worry about it,
guess what? Premium's going to start to increase as well, too.
Ram was displeased about your use of the word wazoo.
Why?
She didn't know what it meant.
Oh.
So maybe we can...
Maybe we can, GPT it.
GPT hit. This guy's deadly. All right, guys, let's just call out a spade bad trade here on where is it at? I think I took it off the screen. On CRE, lost VWAP, made a lower low, so I'm out. It's going to be a loser for me. Sucks to be me. We tried to trade this non-small cap gapper, moving like one, but yeah. Definitely should have stayed within my wheelhouse there, and we'll take an L on CRE. So we'll move on from that. I'm continuing to keep my eye here on PALI. That scare gave me with that lower low. Looks like it was momentary, and now we're kind of working our way back up. Still off the highs, certainly, and that seller at 130 is still to be feared because we don't have any closing prints above 130. We've wicked above that level several times, with the high being $1.36, but I'm still quite ambitious in this one, at least at some point in the day, acting as or manifesting in a flat top break through that $1.30. So I'm keeping my eye on PALI. I'm also keeping my eye on Wolf. I got my ad there at the volume weighted average price, but I'm kind of concerned that this one, maybe finding local support at VWAP, but as we've been talking a lot about lately, my observation with a lot of these small cap gappers is once they lose the 10 EMA, they start using the 10 EMA as resistance to the top side. And I perceive this one to kind of be doing that at the moment. So we'll see if this one can get off the schneid, as my friend Neil likes to say, off the volume weighted average price and start putting in some higher highs and higher lows. I see you, Julie. Oklo up 12%. It's not one of the ones I trade. I won't trade anything other than small cap gappers, so I won't be able to trade Oklo. But your boy Joey Options, certainly we'd be interested in something like that. That's more around his wheelhouse. INMB, another one I'm looking at here. This one just touched the 10 EMA, I think, for the first time since around 10:10 a.m. And that 10 EMA came in at 291. Let's see if this one's got the juice to kind of pop back up. INMB looked like a great buy program there, but that 307 pop had a bunch of selling come in. So let's see if we can get something in here. And then I'll just give this basically to the loss of the 10 EMA. So we're going to give this to 88s, and then we won't have to risk too much over here and then fall into some trouble. So INMB, we're in at 295. Go ahead and throw in the stop there, and we'll throw in some beak wetters possibly into that $3 area. Let's go ahead and set up just like this. We'll see if we can get a nice little pop there on INB. Let's go back to Wolf. All right, Wolf Speed. Oh my God, we got a print on Wolf Speed. Say it ain't so. So we did get a print. It looks like it's finding some support here, Joey, at the 10 EMA. I don't want to start celebrating only to find lower highs and lower lows, but it looks like, you know, at least for the moment, we've got maybe some buying over here. So PALI, though, is one that I really need to start keeping my eye on. I am aware of the higher lows, but there's a bunch of topping tail candles now that are manifesting here into that low 120s, which means people are shorting this at more aggressive levels every time. So I want to give this one as tight a room as I can, but I did add into this position, so we're still holding some shares. Let's see how this cookie ended up crumbling, Joey, but yeah, a bit of a tough one there. Back to Wolf Speed, how we doing? Still with one measly print. That seller at 191, really preventing us from ascending, and that's the same seller that we were observing last time with a few hundred lots there posted on the level 2. So we'll keep an eye out on those guys.
All right, good luck there. All right, so I'm just looking at Ether here, guys, for a potential move. We know that this has been hot last week, really hot. Big time gap up there. That's massive. All these gap ups. We had some really solid trading sessions here. You can see that last week here, guys. Boom, 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 just continuous grind higher. Now starting to consolidate, but one thing from an intraday standpoint, let's keep this in mind, I would love to get in around these lows just in case this is going to be a potential failed breakout and then it decides to move lower. But if we crack through this downtrend and then sit on the backside, maybe we can get a move into some of these support levels or that can act as potential resistance. And then once you have the ability to breach that, then you want to go to that next stage and that next level that can put us around those pre-market highs. And that would put us at a new high of the day on Ethereum. So I really like this right now. Going to be patient, wait for that precise entry just in case it does this. Actually, no, I'm going to eat my words really quick. I'm going to get involved here. We're going to go half size here on this one, guys, just in case it does decide that it wants to snap. We're going to be involved, and then we'll have the ability to add a little bit more to the position if it does decide that it wants to fail break, and then we'll add for the hold of the lows. And if it breaches this, so what is that, about 20-something cents? Okay, so that's not substantial whatsoever. We can most definitely add some, but what we're consistently forming right here is higher lows, right? So you just want to see that. That is a positive sign, a wedge type pattern being formed, and then maybe we can break considering that is a strong stock and there's a lot of positive momentum behind this. We talked about this yesterday. We like Ethereum. Since Liberation Day, let's actually pull this up right now, Sharif, because we don't want to just speculate. We want to give you precise numbers at all times. But what we're going to do is we're going to compare Bitcoin and Ethereum's gains from Liberation Day lows. So April lows, we're going to take a look at it from a percentage metric to see what we got going on. All right, ETH. Oh, no, we don't want that one. We just want Ether. All right, so here it is. We'll zoom out, we'll head on to the daily and see what we got going on. Some nice stuff, and I think we're still about 20-30% off of the previous all-time highs. So we're gonna go at the same day. We'll go April 7th, I think that's when everything was kind of crazy, 156%, Sharif.
Okay.
From those April lows. Now, just give me a guesstimate. What do you think off of those April lows, what is a percentage return on Bitcoin?
Off those April lows.
Yeah.
So I know we went down to 75,000. I know that for a fact. I added there. So we went up to 123. So I can just do the math.
Yeah, you do that. All right, so
it's like 60 some odd %.
Yeah, that's exactly roughly what it is. So there you go. And this is what I'm talking about, Ethereum outperforming 57% to where we're currently trading at, 60% roughly. So yeah, there it is, right? And we know with the Genius Act, who's going to be the primary beneficiary?
Who?
Ethereum.
Boom.
All these stable coins on that network. Was watching a little video on it as well last night too. So very interesting stuff. I'm going to be getting involved more with this name and Bitcoin as well.
I love it. And tell everybody, bro, that you owned 2 ETH coins before, bro.
Oh yeah, I did. I owned a I think so a little bit more.
This is not your first foray into ETH. You've known about this for a hot minute.
It's funny. So it kind of all came in at once, right? So I had a friend of mine, he's like, hey, Joe, have you heard of Dogecoin? And then my cousin a couple months earlier was like, hey, check out this Ethereum. It was about $900 at the time, $1,000. I'm like, okay, very interesting. Knew absolutely nothing about it. But I'm like, hey, speculation, a form of gambling, sign me up. obviously you don't want to keep it in that same mentality. So what did I do? I did put a little bit of money into that, and then also Dogecoin as well. And then that's when I really started to dip into Bitcoin, which I'm like, hey, I just watched, there's a documentary on Prime called Cryptopia.
Okay.
And yeah, anyways, it just talks about Bitcoin, and this one guy says it's going to $1 million. Instantly, what do? I just go and I start putting money into Bitcoin, right? That's just what I do. But that's how things started, right? I watched a little bit of Netflix, YouTube Prime, and I hear people talking about these things, and we get involved. And I actually started watching a documentary last night on how Bitcoin has impacted countries in Africa, and it was very interesting stuff.
Very interesting.
Yeah. And this was made in 2014, and these people were making predictions about Bitcoin and what it could do in the future. Yeah, and there's a cool segment in it. So what happened was they made a transaction. There's a school, obviously, unfortunately, a poor community within it, but they paid using Bitcoin, old school method, and they turned on the lights. Yeah, very interesting stuff. I don't know how exactly they did it, but they're like, hey, they did an example. They're like, hey, we're going to pay this. We're going to do a transaction on the blockchain. And then sure enough, they had the ability to turn on the lights. Bro. Yeah, it was really interesting stuff. And then with that being said, I had to Google what a transaction on the blockchain actually looked like. So it's just pure code, which was very interesting.
I love it. I love it. Interesting stuff, guys. All right, let's get back into Wolf over here. Seller at 95s, but we've got some higher lows, so I've taken out several prints here. We're not really making an aggressive attempt quite yet anyway at that $2 area. Maybe that comes. It's a lot of chop and churn here in the low 90s on Wolf Speed, up 35 and a fifth %. We'll see how this cookie crumbles. We got shares in this one, so let's give it the old college try. Back in IMNB after getting stopped out. We'll give this one another shot. This one double bottoming at a level, so I've got my stop right below this area over here. Let's see if we can fill the 94 print there. Not exactly popping up quite yet either. PAL I've said very little about because it's been basically holding just the same level here for a hot minute. If it loses VWAP, and it feels like it is because it's putting in substantially lower highs now for a while, I think I'm going to flatten out this trade, and then we'll get back in if it is warranted. So I'm kind of concerned, though, about Wolf Speed coming back down now, the red candle. I don't want to give this again to the volume-weighted average price with a lower high. I don't think that that's the right setup. I need continuity here. I need higher highs and higher lows, and we're just not getting that. So I did scalp out, got positive back on it again. I can flatten out here for an even trade, but I don't know what will be the point of that. I'll just feel really bad if it ends up moving up, so I'm just going to pack my patience on this one. So that's the look. INMB, same story on this one. We flattened out on PALI, so we're now only involved in 2 trades. Help me concentrate a little bit better, but definitely looking for some continuity here, guys. It's been kind of choppy for these small cap gappers today. None really giving you that direction. I'm keeping my eye on the scanners, see if anything's popping up anew. Nothing really, standing out. Oh, I stand corrected. I stand corrected. REPL. I'm late to the party on this one. It looks like it really got going here. It started, I was going to say repelling, but repelling means going down. It started moving up here into 375 at around 10 o'clock or so. So REPL is the ticker. It is really breaking out into highs. I'm just trying to load it up on the side chart over here so we can weasel into it. Yeah, I feel like I haven't had the right ones to look at today. But REPL, certainly strong. What was yesterday's price action? So this one gapped back down. This gapped down aggressively. So I don't know what the hell this is. I don't really care either. It looks like an earnings play in the pre-market or some sort of news catalyst. There was stagnation here at around 340, and then you're getting the second bull flag. So bull flag number 1, and then we get the top break there at 340. We're forming bull flag number 2. REPL at the day high, above high 33.1%. Let's see if this one's got the juice to keep going. It certainly has had support at the 10 EMA. Getting away from it right now. Let's see if this one comes back down, gives us an opportunity to get in, or is it going to be one of those ones where we're going to have to punch in at high and then maybe sit in the flag formation for a little bit. So let's go ahead and load up REPL. Take off HIMZ, REPL. Let's go like that, and there it is. It's on the NQ. Breaking out as we speak, Joseph, into that 377. It's got a long way to go given where it came back down from yesterday. So be careful with this one. There might be a lot of bag holders over here. into the top side as a result of yesterday's price action. But this could also be, you know, a lot of shorts covering. Right? When shorts cover, they have to buy. So this could be a lot of short covering given yesterday's price action. Be on the lookout for this one, Joey.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. All right, so let's see what we got going. It's official. Bears are out to play. NVDA printed topping tail, and Q's printed a hammer at top. Different tail. English is confusing. I understand that. At top, do you agree on the 15? Let's take a look. Yeah, so I can see some topping, some selling pressure right here on the 5-minute. I'll zoom out to see what we got going on from a 15-minute perspective, just because that's what you're looking at. Right above the volume weighted average price, is this?
Did you get disconnected too?
Okay, I thought I was like, you know what's funny?
It's
I'm like,
so jokes
you know
how
what's
we
funny?
both actually get it at the same time.
You know what's funny? I'm like, oh, did I have an order out or something? I'm like, no, I'm not prepared for anything.
Yeah, I know. It's like I'm trying to concentrate
I was gonna look at you to see if anything happened, but no, I'm glad that you got that.
Yeah, you're good.
I didn't want anything outstanding. No, but in all seriousness, I mean, this isn't like an isolated candle or anything along those lines, but you can see the selling pressure displayed within the price action, so just keep that in mind here, guys. We have that double top right here as well, so yeah, a good look. We'll take a look at the Qs, because I know you mentioned that because we are on that 15-minute time frame. I don't see anything just yet. And what I'm seeing displayed is that it might want to slowly grind into this pre-market low. And if it does, I would be looking for any forms of rejection around that neck of the woods there, guys. All right, so just keep that in mind. And thank you, Pathic, for pointing that out. It's always good to have multiple eyes on something certain. All right, so Joe Mama, what's up, guys? I'm back after a trading break. Joseph, can you talk about taking breaks in mental health trading? I suffered greatly, but not staying active and sitting in a screen all day isn't healthy. So yeah, I mean, you got to find what works for you and what doesn't work for you. There's no beating around the bush that trading is extremely mentally taxing. The more you get comfortable with that, the better off you are. Just understand. It's weird because as we're growing up, I don't know if you grew up in the States or Canada, you go to school, it's not necessarily, I'm not going to say it's okay to be wrong, but to pass a test, you have to be right. And you're kind of just molded, and your brain is wired in order for you to continuously pass. That's why you study, is because you want to get as many of the answers correctly. Well, with trading, you kind of have to rewire your brain and start accepting the fact that you're going to be wrong the majority of the time, unless you have a high accuracy. Accuracy is exactly what I'm looking for. But you have to start rewiring your brain to understand that, hey, 70% of the time, 60% of the time, 80% of the time, I'm going to be wrong. But when I am right, I'm really right. And that's what's really, really hard for a lot of traders to go through. And it's just, it's an ongoing process of just rewiring your brain that you're going to be continuously wrong. And that's where the taxation comes from, is because you're not used to being wrong, because you go through school, you got to pass the test, etc. But that's not the case here in trading. Get used to being wrong, and then when you're right, you have to be extremely right, and I think that's where a lot of the mental taxation comes from, Sharif.
All right, finally, man, getting a little luck my way here on REPL, added substantially into 65 and then into 60, and now we're rocketing back up into 74s. I have no more orders sitting, so let's go ahead and wait over here. Let's post these orders. Hope we don't jinx it. And then we'll post in the 80s as well. Let's see, there we go. 75's now showing up. 77 is a high, guys. So expect some resistance around here unless we can blow through some sellers. 76 now showing up on REPL. It's up almost 34%. Definitely some selling here at 76. Iceberg ordered. 77's now manifesting. 78 now, the high of the day. Good trade here finally on REPL. Yeah, these ones that were pulling back into support have not been the move today. The ones that have been going are the ones that are actually on the breakout right now. So REPL, good to the high side right now on this one. 78 high. I don't want to take this out too quickly. This one, to the T, held the 10 exponential moving average on the 5. You don't see it on the white charts, but I'll just give you a quick gander there.
Something's going on with Ether. What a big time. Oh, we just added
what happened?
More. Something, Ether just got a big time. Something's going on in the market here. Big time move to the top side. Look at the TQs here.
I see it.
We take a scalp there on Ethereum.
Yeah.
Wow. What
Something's
a move.
going on.
Yeah. I'm going to take a little bit off here, have to be exact, because that punch and pray was crazy. Yeah, let's go.
Great
what a
move.
big time move there on Ethereum. Ethereum, yeah, we'll take that all day, Sharif. But something stepped into this market. We now broke that downtrend on Ethereum. I remove a little bit of liquidity there, but the Qs and the SPY just went absolutely parabolic right there, breaking up, and the volume most definitely stepped in. I think we're going to be heading over, I don't know if I heard anything just yet, but there's most definitely going to be some news on this there, guys. So be cautious. If you get and you're involved on the right side of that pop, take some off just in case you get that reversal move back towards the downside. So keep that in mind.
Nothing
nice
yet,
pop there.
Brendo
Nothing
says.
quite yet. All right, so we'll keep an eye out on that. But yeah, that was a big time spike, and hopefully you guys are on the wrong side of the trade. It just blew through a bunch of short stops right there, and it just absorbed liquidity and just grabbed and just climbed higher and higher. But the Qs and the SPY, massive spike to the top side there, Sharif. And it looks like in Ethereum, this move might be sustained there, my brother.
All right, man. Let's just wet the beak here on REPL as this one zigs and zags. I'm just keeping my eye on this one, but Wolf, I'm going to get stopped out here. Any second. Wolf is losing the volume weighted average price. If it comes back down into the 80s over here, where are we long? We're 87 long, so we're 1 penny out of the money right now on WOLF. I'll let that one go. I've given it the stop. Now I'm keeping my eye on REPL. I've substantially de-risked on REPL. We got 63s on. It's showing me 66s, so it's certainly off the high. Keeping my eye out on that. I'm also keeping my eye on INMB. It is finding support here, generally in the high to mid 80s, popping back into 90. We have 90s on. We've barely got any prints here, so I'm looking for some buying to step in on INMB. It was a buy program almost to start, but kind of feels like it's getting a little weak now. So we'll have to pack our patience with that. Also keeping my eye back, let's just go over here. I'm going to take it out on REPL if it comes against me by any amount. So let's go ahead and go 362, stop. Okay, so we'll give that basically to 359 just in case, and then we'll put for a break-even trade on that one. So that's what I'm keeping my eye on. Financial Times reports the EU and the US are close to a 15% tariff deal. Unsurprising. Thank you, Brendo, for that. And I say unsurprising because once the Japan deal got struck, Donald made statements that he was close with a deal with the European Union. That is going to be good news for a lot of these European car makers. We already saw how the Japanese car makers responded to the tariff deal today with Japan. You had double digits for a lot of them. I'm talking about the Toyotas, Mazdas, Hondas. They were all markedly up in the morning. That's a huge deal, man. I mean, how many Japanese cars do you think driving around the United States? How many European cars do you think are in the United States? So just, I know some of them are made locally, obviously, but that is an important deal. Okay, so Wolf is breaking down. So that trade was wrong. We're going to flatten out there, and I had substantial size on that one, so I'm a little disappointed with myself for that. But hey, I wouldn't have traded it any differently. It came into VWAP, and I was looking for support at the volume-weighted average price. Too bad. So we're out of that one. Now I'm going to really focus here on REPL, the remaining amount, and INMB, looking for this one to continue to hold support in the mid-80s and then rocket back up. So that's the reaction to the news right now, guys. It is a trade deal, possibly likely, with the European Union for around 15%. I'm just trying to go into my news blotter here to see if I can get you guys any details on that EU. Let's type in EU. Why would they have anything to about the EU here, Joey? I mean, that's not a big deal. No. Now, here it is. U.S. stocks move higher after the Financial Times reports U.S. and EU close in. So it's exactly what Brendo wrote before. Nothing new added to that. So that's all we have for you guys right now with respect to this little price action that just popped the market up.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. And Ribby and I in the chat were talking. He's like, goodbye to the VIX calls. Yeah, but we did get a little spike in the VIX, right? So that's just massive expansion. Obviously, we look at the inverse correlation between the two, but I think this is kind of an event where you're just trading within a tight average true range within the intraday, but then you get that news catalyst that just sends everything, excels everything, right? So you're going to look at the money IBs. The chances are it's started to increase considering we just expanded drastically within price action. But in the long term, it may be bad just due to the fact that it's going to slowly decay. And then if we continue to grind higher, then that's when you're going to start to see that volatility cool off. All right. So I appreciate that. No, but that's what I was just thinking about, though, right, Rivian? Because you and I in Pug Life, we're always talking about options and stuff like that. And you brought a good point. I had to bring it up to see what was going on. It's like, but no, we got that expansion within price. So essentially, the VIX should slightly pick up. This is, yeah, so that's what I'm looking at there, all right? Yeah, we're gonna, oh, okay, so there it is, guys. It is now lunchtime. We're gonna hold on to this Ethereum position to see what we got going on. That was a nice punch, right on that volatility spike. We doubled up the position right there, Sharif.
Double.
But now, we're heading to Neo with his lesson of the day.
Bang. Get it, Neo.
Thank you, guys. Lesson of the day brought to you by our friends over at Top One Futures, everybody. If you're looking to trade futures like the Nasdaq, SPY, or, hey, even Bitcoin, Top One Futures is one of the fastest growing prop firms out there. They give traders the chance to manage up to $1 million in capital. Pick your path, instant funded, challenge, or pro account, and start trading your way to real payouts and even a live account. In the last 90 days alone, they've paid out over $10 million and earned 1,000 plus 5-star reviews from real traders. Use the discount code TTV to save on any account. Scan the QR code or head to top1futures.com and start trading toward your next payout. And whether you're trading futures, whether you're trading equity, heck, anything that's going to be moving on a chart, you want volatility. We like volatility. We love volatility. But there's a term that I like to use, which is like you want to try to sniper trades if you can. And that just means the more volatile a stock is, or futures, doesn't really matter, the more precise you want to be with your entries. When the risk is bigger and the opportunities as well, you don't want to get wrapped up in fighting a stock or going too far against the grain. You want that spot where you can get in, and as Joe said, understand that in trading you're going to lose oftentimes as much as you win or more than you win. But when there's a big opportunity out there, you want to get that precise entry to where you can try to win big and lose small. And I want to give you 2 examples of that kind of an entry. And it doesn't matter what style of trade you use for the sniper entry, but you want to have a plan of action as to what you're doing with it before. The first example is going to be something like HIMS. Now, obviously, if you've broken out long on HIMS, you're just absolutely chilling, stone cold chilling. Sharif likes stone cold chilling. Everyone should, although it is kind of chilly in here right now. I don't know about that. But when we talk about looking for entries to trade with good risk to reward, I want to find a trading strategy like this, where it has gone up from the open 49. By the time I'm looking at this stock, you've got almost 10% up. The volume weighted average price is over $1.50 away, and I can find myself in a trade where I'm shorting it with less than 25 cents worth of risk, and there's $1 to $1.50. And the reason why that works is I know that if I have a trend break set up, my entry is going to be clean. I did use a 1 minute instead of a 3 minute. I'm not going to bother switching it here, but I get in, I give it to a prior bar in that one, and the second it's not working, that's fine. I get a scalp trade out at first spot, at first support, and when it breaks back up, I have a very, very tight stop. This is the type of setup that only needs to work 1 time out of 3 for me. And if it works 1 time out of 3, you're profitable. Why? Because you've sniped your entry. I'm not trying to get filled at other places. And even when I play it here, same strategy. I play it right here, same strategy, trend break, take some profit out, it stops me out. I get a wick top, I still like it because it gave the wick top. I jump right back in again with a tight stop, scalp it, and then actually tighten my stop up here. All throughout the way, it's still upward trending. And I'm flat on the stock. I'm actually flat on HMS. And that's with taking a bit of profit, but having a tight stop. Any of those moves get down to the volume weighted average price, and it's my best stock today. All the while, not even risking that much. Now, how many times do you have the opportunity to get a big win, and when it doesn't work out, you're taking a small loss? it never could have been my biggest loser today unless I missed my stop. That's the kind of thing I'm looking for when I'm sniping an entry. And sometimes sniping an entry is a little bit less defined because you could just be taking a breakdown trade. Now, candidly, Open, I got very fortunate on Open today when we want to snipe an entry. And when we look at the last couple of days, we knew what we wanted to do after that move to the downside. Yesterday, you were shorting it off the $4 level. Forget about the breakdown. Today, it didn't go to 3, which is the next even dollar, which you're all over if it does, but then 250. Pre-market lows 250. A sniper entry can also be a breakout or a breakdown. It breaks 250, it's SSR. I missed the trade because as it's going down, you need an uptick to be able to get the fill. I don't get it. I leave the order in and pray that it bounces back into my order. It did and gave me the fill. That's a sniper entry. Why? Because my stop is literally at 251. If that even spends a split second or a single print above that breakout price, I'm out. But your risk to, I'm not taking any profit until it gets to 40. So my first out is 7 cents in the money, my stop is 4 cents, and the move goes 25. So my average out works out to about a 13 or 14 cent win with 4 cents worth of risk. That's a sniper entry. And ultimately, you could do this a million ways. Look, I could have changed it up and been like short into this level or whatever, and it would have worked. But I don't want to play it that way. I want to play it where tight stops, tight entry, another flat bottom break. If it doesn't work, fine, I can get out of dodge. I can find my way back in. Topping tail candle, sniper entry, work it back to the low. Now, you can play it a million ways. You could short every single up move and just hold it. That would work too. But if you do that on the days where it's trending up like this, then what's going to happen is the days that you lose are going to wipe out the days that you win. And ultimately, that's what matters. So when something is trending or going parabolic, if you can find an execution strategy that gets you one place to buy, one place to sell in a certain direction with a good tight stop relative to your risk to reward, it's such a safer way to play than just sort of saying, I like the long, I like the short, and then you could end up fighting the trend. I'd rather just find places to join the trend and get that and get that nice entry point where it doesn't have to win 80% of the time for me to win, than sit there trying to fight the stock. No, it's a short, it's a short. Let me just keep shorting it on the way back in, or it's a long, let me just keep buying those dips. If you can find those perfect entries and refine your trading style, everything when it comes to risk management becomes more simple. It's easier to stay disciplined. Specific strategy of entry and exit that you can easily explain to yourself or to somebody else and put orders out there without having to overthink it. That's your lesson of the day. Good luck. This market is wild. Love that deal with the EU. Nice spike to the upside. AMD now 2.5% up. Chips are back, baby. Bye.
Thank you very much, Neil. Awesome as always. All right, guys. Some stuff to update you on. There's another small cap gapper that's working its way onto the scene. It's still south of that dollar right now. It goes by the ticker SHOT. SHOT 99.81 high. I'm talking about 4 decimal places, not $99. So just on the door of that dollar area, yeah, where the bears have been keeping this one down below the dollar. It's on its way. It's done about not that many shares, 6.63 million. And I'll submit to you, this one has been trading since basically 9:30 onward. So you can see about 600,000 shares per 5-minute candle there at the high. But the problem with this one is it's still south of that dollar. Now, I could be a buyer here at 90 pennies, just given what it did there initially with resistance. So I can keep my eye on that one. We'll see how that one goes. INMB is coming back down now into the volume weighted average price. I was able to de-risk substantially up here, so I feel good adding into the volume weighted average price, which is currently at 79s to 80s. So let's see if we can get a move into that level into about, let me see if I can front run that. I'll front run it at 81. Let's see if we can get the fill there, Joey. I'll let you iron that out for a second, then I'll tell everybody about REPL. This one just made a new high into 81s. Be on the lookout here for REPL up 34%, holding the 10 EMA quite well. Let's see if this one's got the juice to take out the high at 81. Joey, what happened?
No, I pressed the wrong key, and I intentionally, I did mean to add here, but then I doubled my ad by accident, so I didn't mean to do that. I meant to place an order at 65s, and then it flushed right against me. So yeah, what a dog's breakfast, man. That was not fun, but yeah, I mean, I was going for the break of this zone right here. You add, you slowly start to curl over, and then that's what I was looking for, that move. But then I by accidentally pressed the wrong key, and it just added me a little bit more right there. So we'll see if we can hold on to this. That now lifts my stop up to about 29.50. So we don't got too much room on this one, guys. 27.49, sorry, I should say, because I'm going to get out break even if it does decide to break through this resistance level. And there you can see that this move isn't being sustained, but I think there might be another opportunity to get involved. You just want to keep an eye out on that. So yeah, it's unfortunate that I made that mistake, because now I just got to get out of this trade, right? Because I'm not going to allow a winning trade to turn into a loser whatsoever. So yeah, there it is. We'll take some off, but a nice breakout. You can see we got that volatility spike. Boom, we double it up, take some off there, and I had about 40% remaining. Add a little bit more just to get it to about a little bit more than a half risk unit, and then I made that mistake, and then now we make that flush. So there it is, starting to pull back in. Same with across the board, right? You got the Qs starting to come back in towards the volume weighted average price, so another big time volatility spike, giving up the majority of that move here already. But there it is, some key resistance zones, support levels, sorry. Now you're getting that base, but now if it cracks to the downside, maybe this was enough liquidity absorbed in order for us to continue its descent. But yeah, Bitcoin really staying aggressive. Ethereum now back into VWAP, so I'm glad that we got out of this one. See, that's the thing, right, guys? When you put on a trade, you don't want to give money back on the winning trade, so just hop out. If it comes back to your break even and you still really like that trade, you could just hop right back in if you really still feel that type of way, all right? So just keep that in mind. But yeah, we're starting to get some aggressive selling in some of these crypto names. Bitcoin right back at the volume weighted average price, so keep an eye out for this one. It's been respecting it pretty well throughout the intraday session, right? So you can see that we've been trading around that level, nice base around that 67, and then sure enough, you climb, you get that volatility spike, and now giving up a little bit more of that move. That's the thing, it's hard to sustain the volume, especially if they don't believe that there's higher value in the underlying asset. But let's pull up the options chain real quick before we send it back to Sharif on Bitcoin to see what we got going on with that one. Is there any high levels of open interest? Why have we been kind of going back into a consolidation after we've been on that previous move? And I think this will tell us a lot here. So on this week's expiration cycle, we want to find the highest level of open interest, and that's going to be at the 69 strike price. Now let's go zoom out and see what we got going on for the week, and if we've traded anywhere around that realm. So we'll go to an hourly chart. Where was our high? 68.43, Sharif. 68.43, even 68.70 roughly there. So, or is it Monday, Tuesday? Today's Wednesday, right? Yeah.
Yes,
so
sir.
there it is. So there it is, a high of 68.46. We'll call it 50s flat on this week, and the highest level of open interest is right at that 69 strike price, 47,500. Right below that, we have that 68 strike price with 30,100 current open contracts. Let's take a look at ETHA.
Okay.
I want to see what this thing's up to.
What's it up to?
I haven't even looked at the chain yet on it, to be honest with you, brother. It's crazy. 30 strike price, 21,800 contracts. Let's pull up ETHA to see what we got going on. I'm curious to when this thing became optionable. What was the high? 29.34, starting to pull back. But that's the largest amount of size that I see across the board on this week's expiration cycle. That's going to be both on the call and the put side.
All right, guys, REPL doing quite well over here, guys. So it's been holding the 10 EMA, a new high day into 382s. I'm still posted at 86s. We get the 82 print there. I haven't added to this one since initially getting in on REPL at 65 or 63s. So I'm going to keep my eye on this one. I don't mind adding to it into the 10 EMA, but I did get burned on the Pally ad, right? So we did add into that one, and then that lost VWAP. So we ended up giving back a little bit there on PALI. So I want to be kind of cautious with where I add today. The small cap gappers, it's not really their day. There are not too many that are running aggressively right now. REPL, maybe some others, HIMZ, which is not really a small cap gapper. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about these ones today. We'll keep an eye on it. I don't want to be aggressive though if it's not warranted to be aggressive. So packing my patience there. Now what I'm keeping my eye on right now is INMB. So we're in at 81s. This is the volume weighted average price. So it's going to have to hold up here. I've tried to give it a little bit of room to account for any slippage below VWAP, but you just never really know how these ones are going to get. So VWAP, keeping my eye on this one, looking for a pop back up on IMB. I'm still seeing ATYR, which we don't have in our system, but this one had a lot of support at the volume weighted average price as well. It's off the highs though, 710 HOD right now on this one. It's back down in 681, but VWAP has been an interesting area of support for it. What else do we got? REPL I mentioned. HIMZ back into that 10 EMA. Looks like the buy program has kind of shut off at least for a little bit now on HIMZ. You can see the declining profile, volume profile that is. Essentially from 1120, 1130 onwards, it's been making lower lows, lower highs, excuse me. So yeah, be on the lookout for the declining volume on this one because it could start selling off. And it's already losing the 10 EMA, coming into $26 now, $24 the volume weighted average price. So you're gonna have to wait a little bit for this one to weasel its way back down if it's gonna find support at VWAP. So keeping my eye on that. Wolf Speed, I got stopped out of this, as I mentioned earlier, but there does seem to be a buyer here at 80, which is about 5 pennies below the volume weighted average price. It's trying to break back above that now, but I've seen this story before where it popped back up off VWAP only to get you in to make newer lows subsequent. So unless we get something above 195 where I can say to myself, look, you've cleared a prior area high, I'm not going to get involved with Wolf. In fact, I've kind of taken it off the side chart so that or the trading screen, so I'm not really kind of compelled to trade it. So now what I'm really focusing on is REPL and INMB. I've got shares on INMB. If we get a nice price spike up on this one into 3, it would just be aces. We're showing 84s right now, where I actually have my first order. It's not clearing that level, so we're not going to get the print showing 83s on the bid. The spread doing its thing, 25 yet again. So we'll keep that in view. What else we got over here? That's basically it. So PMN, I haven't said anything about this one, but it's... Let me show you guys SHOT, because you guys have been talking about SHOT in the chat a lot. This is the one that I said was kind of straddling that $1 area. This is the 5-minute on SHOT, and you can see it's putting in higher lows for a possible attempt of a break of $1. And here we go. Are we at the day's high yet on SHOT? What is the day high technically? It is now $1, despite the fact we're not above it right now. So keep your eye on this one. It's been putting in some higher lows. Definitely some buying here, likely at 90 pennies, given that 90 pennies was basically the flat top break today. Now we have the dollar with which to contend. So keep your eye on SHOT if you like these small cap gappers. I think this one might have a shot. All right, back to INMB. We get the print at 84s. Now it's showing me 85s. Let's see if this one can pop back up and give us a few prints here. Next level, I'm waiting at, Joey, 88.
Cool. Let's go, guys. Let's see what we got going on. Savvy Canadian traders looking to boost their, not yet, no?
Do they have to be savvy?
No, they have to be savvy.
Okay.
Otherwise, yeah, I don't think you fit the requirements there. Savvy Canadian traders looking to boost their exposure can now tap into the Nasdaq 100 and S&P 500 with Beta Pro 3X daily leverage ETFs featuring built-in FX hedging. This aims to amplify short-term market moves, minimizing the impact of currency swings. Whether you're feeling bullish or bearish, these ETFs are built for active day traders ready to take on the market.
Yes.
Read the full risk disclosure in the prospectus at betapro.ca before investing. There it is. Yeah, so what a dump here that we're experiencing in the crypto space. Sharif.
Oh.
Yeah, so
Can I say something to you, man? It feels like crypto has been a hedge as of late. I don't want to go ahead and say that yet because I think a couple of weeks ago we did see correlation with the NQ.
Yeah.
But I want to say maybe over a rolling 6-week period, I think there's been more dissimilarities than similarities with the NQ, and I'm not averse to that. If I want to punch into the Qs, Joey, I'll punch into the Qs. Yeah. But I don't want to punch into Bitcoin and get Qs price action. And so I
agree with you on that.
Yeah, and so when I woke up this morning and you had that Japan deal, in fact, it was last night. I saw it on Squawk Box Asia that that Donald announced the Japan deal. But the point was, as soon as we got that deal, you saw some selling off in Bitcoin. which, okay, I get that. It's short-term coverings of the hedge, but I do want to see the break of the correlation. I don't want the correlation, right?
You want to see more divergence between.
Dude.
Yeah.
Like
I agree with you, right?
You know what I mean?
It's like, hey, it's like you don't kind of, for an example, you don't want to mix. Like everybody has friend groups, right? And sometimes it's not good to mix the different friend groups.
Well said.
Right? You know what I mean?
Well said. I never mix friend groups.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a hard and fast rule, baby.
So you don't mix the two.
No.
And I think that's kind of the case in crypto. And as for the past 6 weeks, I mean, look at the move that Ethereum's been on. A lot of us thought this was like dead money. It's like Ethereum this, Ethereum that. It sucked. Well, guess what? Genius Act doesn't suck so much
I was one of those people. I'll admit it. I'll admit it, man.
A lot of us were. Everybody's like, why would you buy Ethereum over Bitcoin? Like, you don't know what you're doing. Okay, well, clearly we didn't know what we were doing because with the Genius Act, this is the primary beneficiary. Like the blockchain, smart contract. We've been talking about smart contracts for quite some time, but now I think this gives the ability for more adoption within that realm. And I think what's going on with the Genius Act is just so perfect for Ethereum. And I'm really curious to see where this can lead this, like 5-10 years down the road.
And let's just call another spade a spade, man. The stable coin legislation, especially with the ones pegged to the US dollar, is super bullish for the US in two ways. One, for demand for US currency, because you have to offset the inflows with dollars or US debt, treasuries. Now, it's not going to, I don't think, bring down the yield curve from the longer dated. Why? Because they're all going to be short-term treasuries that the stable coin issuing companies are going to have to hold.
5 years.
Exactly. Even sub that, Joey, some 6 months, a year, right? So not bad in terms of, definitely getting demand for treasuries, but if you're looking for the 10-year, the 30-year to kind of drop down in the yield because demand for them are going to go higher, I don't think the stablecoin issuers are going to be putting it in the 30-year.
No.
You see what I'm
That's
saying?
usually more like for like insurance funds.
There you go.
Put by the 30.
There you go.
Like that. So very very valid point. I think that the outlook for this is absolutely fantastic. And it's funny. So I was watching a little bit of the news, and there's this company called the Ethereum Machine.
Okay.
So it's a guy. I think the company owns about 400,000 Ethereum, and what it's kind of like it's the micro strategy of Ethereum, and essentially what they're doing is they're going to generate yield for you. So it's different. So they're going to stake the Ethereum, and they're going to that will generate the yield, but then you also get you're looking to get the appreciation of the underlying asset and the stock price while you can generate profits from the yield as well too. And that's why the individual is building his case on why you shouldn't necessarily buy ETHA, because you won't have the ability to generate that yield, but you can get exposure to that with this Ethereum machine. And I'm not too sure if he's going to be IPOing relatively soon, but it's very interesting. Stuff.
Ram. You just got your crypto segment right there, girl. Clip that.
You're welcome.
That was some good stuff right there. Come on.
Hey. And we didn't even mean to do that. That's the best when it's organic.
We didn't. And it's super appropriate given stablecoin legislation. And when I do the news shortly, guys, I'm going to show you what Goldman's doing today. They're tokenizing money market funds with your boys there at Bank of Mellon, New York. We'll get to that one in a hot second because it's super interesting as well. To me, this is very, very bullish in terms of opening up the financial markets. I want to shout out Justin Turner. I like how you spell your name, Justin, Juston. Shout out to Assassino as well for sending me this. Justin says as follows: love you all. I didn't usually speak. Thank you for all your effort and your talent that you share here. I'm sick, and Trader TV is the truth. No, you're the truth. Thank you very much, Justin, for that comment. So much so.
Who's really the truth, Neil? Who's the truth? Who is that guy?
So much so that they like that comment so much so that you inspired Neil to come in midday.
Preach is all I got to say. And I want to shout out, that was a great segment you guys just, whether it's a segment or you guys are just shooting the you-know-what, talking about crypto, that was great. And hats off to both of you. And there's one thing I want to say. When I did last night, I was talking about open, and there was a troubling comment that came in the chat. Because someone actually posted in the chat, and I believe you, that they said, I can't take sniper entries on this stock because when I traded at my broker, there's an 8-cent spread. Now, I was in disbelief. I actually had this conversation with Brendan and even the president of our company here at Real Trading. And I simply said I didn't want to use the terminology in my response that you're being scammed. But you know what? That's the right thing to say. Open Door did a 1.8 billion shares of volume 2 days ago. It did 1 billion shares yesterday. It's done 360 million shares today. It is 100% trading with a ridiculous amount of liquidity at a 1 cent spread. And if anybody out there is having to execute with an 8 cent spread on this stock, they're flat out being cheated. And know that you are being cheated, and know that as a trader you deserve better. And you know what? I'm not the kind of person that usually would have done this, and it was after the conversation with the president of the company that said, no, this is what I should be saying. Letting you know that you're getting scammed, that's just the truth. So at the end of the day, your broker works for you, and your platform should work for you, and it should be giving you the tools to succeed. And if it's not, find somebody that is. At Real Trading, we have access to pretty much everything, and we can short this and that and get locates, but that's ridiculous. 8 cent spread on a stock with that kind of volume?
That's crazy.
Like, get out of here.
That's crazy.
Get out of here. Like, it almost sounds criminal to me. Like, it's a flat-out scam. So hopefully you can find yourself a better situation there, because everyone just wants to be able to have the opportunity to trade and have.
But Neil,
succeed.
I want to build on your point before you go. There are some brokerages, Neil, that will only use one market maker, one gateway, right? And so you're kind of restricted to that one gateway. So if the spread is 8 pennies on that gateway, it's take it or leave it.
Well, what's extreme about this is even if that were the case, Open is so liquid that every gateway is at the 1 cent spread.
That's fair.
Because it's literally the highest volume stock in the last 3 days.
That's
like
fair,
if it was a small capper with limited volume and limited liquidity, fine. But this is the most liquid stock in the market at this moment. And that's what really bothered me.
Fair.
Like, something you're getting scammed. There's more liquidity on this stock than you find pretty much anywhere. Call anything up and it doesn't have Open's liquidity. Anyways, I'll let you guys get back to it.
I appreciate it.
I just hope that viewer can find a better situation.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And thank you, Neil, for coming in midday. Alexis Bliss, is Ram Adara? No. Yes. They are two different people. Adara is the girl that sits at the big desk with the reddish brown hair. Ram, you don't see her kind of just like weaseling in and out behind the scenes. Sometimes she's mean. Sometimes you'll hear her from behind the mic. No, two different people. Ram sits like right in front of Joseph and I. So if we're kind of looking that way and yelling at Ram, she is one of the production people. Adara obviously has vacation time. She's back home visiting fam. We wish her a great time there. So they are not the same people. Galvin G says, I don't believe you. All right, bro. Have at it. All right, let's keep an eye here on REPL. This one continuing to make higher highs and higher lows. That's where I am right there. So right there, that computer screen right there, that's her computer. I don't know if she's there. Is she there? No, she's not there. So that's where Rammer is. You guys can see Brendo is right there in the corner. Joey obviously sits over here. And then we got the big kahunas to the right of me, but that is Brendo at the big desk right there filling in for Adara. There you go. Neil and Sean, the OGs, doing their thing. And that's Ram. That culprit right there, that's her. Zoom in on her, Assassino. Yes, that's Ram. So she's part of the production team. If you see TikToks, if you see Instagram short reels, if you see YouTube shorts, she's the one putting them together. So yeah, show love for Ram in the chat. If you like some of our online social media content, she's behind all that good stuff right there. All right, let's get back to REPL. It's the only trade that I'm currently involved in. It's the only one that's continually putting in higher highs and higher lows. Everything else I'm displeased with, okay? So much so, I flattened out of INMB for a little bit of a winner here as it came back down, and more pleased I could not be with that decision as it did come back into my entry. Now, what pushed me out of INMB was not lack of patience. What it was obvious area lower highs. So if I base my 1135 candle as the area high, which is the day high, so I got to use that, 307, then we look. What's the next area high? 298, couldn't even work to 3. And then what was it followed by? A red candle, fantastic. And then this candle over here that found support at the volume weighted average price, that 1215 candle. What was it followed by? Yet another red candle. So it's lower high, lower low, lower low. That ain't the move if you're going long. So we'll stop out of this one and take some quick profits on that. Am I positive on this piece of crap? Hold on, INMB. No, I'm down very little on it. So at least I made some back because I was actually more negative on it. So INMB will keep an eye on. If it wants to find support at the volume weighted average price, we'll get back involved. Otherwise, I want no smoke with it. Wolf Speed, I saw this one was trying to dupe me into another long over here. Starts putting in 4 candles off the volume weighted average price to make new highs. And then look at this candle. Touches 190, drops all the way back down into the high 70s. So Wolf Speed, absolutely not for me at the moment. But there's others. There's others, but they're lacking liquidity. Where is that one? VYNE I had over here. Let me show you guys this one. It's super illiquid. It's just not the day for small caps today. Even though this one's got a 1 penny spread, it's barely doing any volume, but it's got a lot of support. Whatever reason, at the volume weighted average price, somebody's buying it up here, and they have been basically all day since 11 o'clock. It's been defending the volume weighted average price, and now it's getting into that $1.40 area where it's had resistance essentially all day. So if that one takes out the level, we could get involved. Otherwise, I'm just not seeing the small caps with the continuity today. So if that's the case, we're not going to be punching into these willy-nilly. We'll stick with the ones that are winning. So INMB is the only one really that's continuing to go, and I'm keeping my eye on this one for a deeper retracement, namely because we've obviously got into the high there at 385. I didn't take prints. I was waiting at 87, and we're above the 10 EMA. So we have been due here for a deeper pullback, at least from my observation, on REPL for a hot minute. And the last time we were below the 10 EMA on a closing basis was never. This thing has been above the 10 exponential moving average on the 5-minute chart since 9:30. You've had all of one wick below the 10 EMA. It happened one time here at 10:55, and that's it. Everything else has found support at the 10 EMA. This is the candle that I got involved in, that 1150 candle off 58s, and then we added as this one moved up. So REPL, the only one really that I like at the moment. HIMZ, we can't trade, but this one had good support off the 20 exponential. Neither can we with ATYR. This one also has fantastic support off the volume weighted average price. It's having trouble though with 7. There's been a lot of selling in and around that 7 area, despite the fact that the high of the day is 710. Keep your eye out though. If you can trade this one, ATYR, it's putting in lower highs. So what I'd be looking for is a decisive clearing of $7, not a quick wick above it and then a drop back down. So be on the lookout for that. Otherwise, Joey, it's just not the day for these small caps. So I'm going to pack my patience and really wait for that setup. Yeah, good. No, good for understanding. Oh, good reminder there.
Yeah, good. Good for understanding when it's not your day. Agora realized that, and I think that's a veteran move, especially if you're just at home trading on your desk. You don't want to just continuously tilt out and be like, been there, done that. So it's not a good time. Eventually, what you asked me this morning, Sharif, what would you rather feel, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret?
Dude, it's one of the, it's so stupid how I encountered this. Can I tell you?
Yeah, absolutely.
The stupidity is rampant, but it's so real, this statement. It's a stupid TikTok video of some Japanese guy dancing to the song. He made up a song that has these words. Do you want the pain of discipline or the pain of, because you're going to get both. You're going to get either way. Which one actually pays dividends, though?
Yeah, but that's what I was saying to you this morning. The pain of discipline is temporary because eventually it'll pay off. The regret can always linger and loom.
Now, let's not pretend that there are people out there that can't put regret out of their mind, right? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
You can kind of, you know, just be like, oh, yeah, whatever.
You're over it quick. You know?
No, man, I am not one of those people. I am not one of those people.
There's no way. A good saying. I remember at the gym, they removed that. They had a big saying, the bridge between goals and accomplishments is discipline, and that stuck with me for a long time.
That's big.
Yeah, it's really big, man.
And then he goes on to say, do you want the pain of progress or do you want the pain of regress?
Yeah, exactly. Either way,
it's going to be painful, baby.
Yeah, but
some people in the chat saying discipline is not pain. I find discipline to be quite painful. When I get up at 5 in the morning and I smash a sesh, it's painful. When I have to basically go to work after work, it's painful. It's painful. It's not pleasurable. I'd rather be at home watching YouTube. I mean, I'm whatever, running, out with the boys, playing tennis, Duolingo, which I do anyway. No, seriously though, guys. Discipline does have to
pull that headline up. Can you pull that headline up one more time for us there? Fabian. I seen this at Meta now creating a wristband that you can control computers with just the twitch.
Oh, okay. So like the Apple Watch?
Yeah. So boom, boom. Maybe.
Doesn't it already have, aren't there already finger controls on the Apple Watch?
Is there?
Yeah.
Can you use finger control?
This is older. This is 6,
okay,
but
so
the
you
new
can
one's,
do
yeah.
that. All right. So
The 11th finger.
The 11th finger. Cool.
Okay, Fabian.
All right. Make sure you guys put in the tickers that you want to see on the afternoon rundown, guys. You want to put in the $ and then the ticker following that. So leading the way, we got HIMS with 60 subs, Tesla 46, but then SDST, I think that's more along your realm there, Sharif, with 49 subs. So they're sitting in that second place. But Tesla, I would not be surprised. But guys, put that $ and then the ticker. And it's probably best you go with some of the top leaders just in case. But if you want to throw something out there, who knows what? Anything can catch fire. And then boom, next thing you know, you're climbing higher. But my guy, I think I was looking for you earlier in the day. I think it's Jeff Josie. Yeah, were you and I talking earlier this morning? You're saying, "Hey, Joe, hop into a trade." I said, "Hey, patience, brother, patience, right? You want to get more into sniper mode right now." And then here you can see this is what we were waiting for on Ethereum, and I was just fortunate enough to get to be involved in this volatility to the top side, right? That's just complete fluke. Did I know anything along those lines was coming? Absolutely not, especially regarding the EU deal. So yeah, just again, but that's what they say. Sometimes luck is just, I forget how the saying goes, but luck is obviously something involved, but that comes with a little bit of skill as well too, right? You put yourself in the right place at the right time, and sure enough, some lucky things can happen, and we've just been fortunate enough to do so. So there it is. But now we've turned negative on the day, 2.2%. So yeah, my long shares aren't doing too good. Dang, we're gonna have to buy a little bit more. I think this is going to be more of a long-term play, either mid to long-term, anyways, 3 to 6 months, maybe even if that. Couple months, but I think we'll start to get the ball rolling. It's been on a monstrous move as the past couple of weeks have passed. And things need to cool down a little bit. So they fill this gap, 26, we'll add a little bit more, and then maybe we can take that additional climb higher and put in and race towards those previous all-time highs, which is, I believe, just under $5,000 on Ethereum. So yeah, good look there, guys. Make sure you put the $, and then the ticker you got going on. And what else are you looking at? Oh, Jesus in the chat was Jesus was asking me about some puts on the Qs, and I said, hey, brother, hey, brother. I said, you remember that song? Yeah.
That's like one that I actually know, Joey.
Rest in peace to Avicii. Yes, wait, right? Because as soon as this happens, Pug Life and Rivian and I were talking about this. As soon as you get that volatility spike, it's going to be automatically reflected in the options premium. Until that really starts to cool off, you want to see the volatility decay. And if you do believe that, or you still have this bearish outlook where you want to buy those puts, you want to wait for the IV to slowly cool off so you're not paying an outstanding premium, an extended premium there, Sharif.
All right, guys. Just keeping my eye still on REPL. Where's this one at? Still hanging out at the highs. It feels like it's holding the 10 EMA on the 5, but not really rocketing up. 385, and it's been 385 is a high, and it's been straddling 375. I want to say for going on now almost half an hour. So really unsure how to think about this one. Still have a couple of outs left. I'm still waiting at 87s. That requires a high at daybreak, so we'll keep tabs on that one. I weaseled also into RNAS over here. Let's see if it can kind of get back above 16. Small position here on RNAS. I don't mind defending the top end of the prior area bull flag, which is around 15.5. It's showing me 84s at the moment, but certainly having some trouble selling at 16. What I'm looking at is the 5-second chart to see if there's buyers that are going to step in at around 15.50. At around 12.08 to about maybe 12.13, there was a seller at 15.50 before we decisively took out 15.50 at around 12.15. So what I'm looking for is possibly a buyer to step in at around the $0.50, the prior area where we were selling off. But it does seem like this one is still putting lower highs in on the 5-second chart, so it's not really rocketing up. RNAZ, we'll see what this one's got. It's about 67% in the green right now, but definitely a little bit off the highs. Wolf Speed continues to sell off. Bless you, Ram. This one continues to sell off, so I was happy I didn't get lured into that long on the pullback into VWAP. It is substantially below VWAP. Now get that fly, Katina, man. Those things have been annoying the hell out of everybody the last few days over here. INMB continuing to sell off, guys. Be on the lookout for possible hold at VWAP. It is right at the volume weighted average price, but this one hasn't caught a bid since, I want to say, 11:35. So we are over an hour now of just straight selling on IMB. So be on the lookout for that as well, Joey. ATYR is the one that's really going here, looking in to get into the high of the day. ATYR, not one that we can trade, but 33% in the green. Look at it. It's right above or looking to take out 7 again. It's awfully close to 7. And then if it can clear 7, there's a good chance it squeezes above the high of the day because that's 710 right there. So it's literally right at the corner. We'll see what ATYR has to offer, Joey.
Absolutely. Okay, so Brando brought this to us earlier this morning. So there it is, Jack Dorsey now allowing BTC payments, which is very, very interesting. It's not even moving with the market right now, so slow, steady grind higher. That's really, really, really cool, and I think that's great, a good step in the right direction. And then you can see it not moving with the market as the TQs and the SPY are pulling back. XYZ block is just on the steady grind to the top side and breaching some of these e-liquid areas. Actually, we'll see that first. I don't want to eat my words too quickly. Oh, so there it is. Run into that pre-market low where you can see a lot of that e-liquidity is. Like I'm pointing at it like you guys can see. I love it when I do that. But I think that's going to be a next level. And if it has the ability to breach and hold, watch out. There is a double top right here almost to the penny, right at that $89 or $81 level. So keep an eye out for that as well too. But a lot of good levels that you could potentially play on this name. Did the volume start to pick up? No, it's nice, cool, and moderate. So there it is. Nice steady ground higher. No ability to breach any of these lows. What was prior resistance now acting as support. And then you just get that move higher. Wow, what a great opportunity on that one there. So yeah, it's unfortunate that we missed that, but I won't complain. Glad that this is where you got to get out when you're supposed to get out, right? Like we hop in, add, boom, 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 we add a little bit more, and then it comes to our break-even stop, and then we just get out of there. Imagine I just held this, I would have gave back the majority of all the profits on the day, not even on that trade alone. But yeah, so there it is, Jack Dorsey, Square now lets merchants accept BTC payments, all right? Tesla starting to head towards the low. Don't forget, we got earnings. What's going to happen? Are we going to sell into it, or are we going to buy or start buying things up around 2 o'clock? I think that's, if there is going to be any signs of strength in this, maybe we'll turn around in the latter half of the session and start to climb higher. But let's zoom out and see what we got going on from a daily perspective. There it is, consistent lower highs right there. I think if it breaks, this is a really key pivot level. If it does break and it just goes absolutely crazy, the shorts are going to get squeezed, and I would not be surprised. That is to the downside if it does exceed this 374 level, because we know what Tesla can get up to. There's no questioning that. So keep an eye on that. And then Google as well. We got this evening. Yeah. Solid. I think this is going to be the end of its green streak there. I don't know. Some days are closing red, but anyways, yeah. Going to be the end of that, right into some key levels. Only 5% off the previous all-time highs. Watch out for the break of that expected move, and then sure enough, you never know what can happen the following session there, Sharif.
All right, guys, REPL continuing to dance with that high of the day, right back into the low 80s, high 70s. Does this one have the juice to take out 385? I mean, it's been knocking the door of 385 for a hot minute, so it hasn't been able to take it out, but it feels like a prolonged bull flag. But we saw this pattern before. Have a look over here when we kind of had that prolonged look as well, and then we got that continuity. So, you know, you don't always get a third bull flag, right? Most of the time you'll get 2, not most, but, you know, more than 3 certainly. Whether or not we get 3 here is going to be, who knows? But what I'm really trying to debate myself is do I start building a position into this area, especially with that buyer at 75 really showing his hand over and over and over? I think I'm going to. So if that means giving back some, give him back some. I have to add into the positions that are actually winning because the other ones really don't have that good continuity. So adding into REPL, that fundamentally changes my my buy order. I think somebody needs to open the door for Sean, guys. He's locked out. Because he's locked out, locked out. All right, so let's set up some orders here, possibly into the high of the day on REPL. We'll keep an eye out on that one. It's the only one that's got the juice, guys. Everything else kind of breaking down. I'm still keeping my eye on RNAS. Nothing really doing there. Didn't get the ad. Couple of pennies out of the money here. Looking for a VWAP, generally a hold at the volume weighted average price, but we're off the highs here, Joey. So still putting in lower lows, lower highs on the 5-second chart on RNAS, but we're still above VWAP.
Bro.
Looking for that move back up a little bit. What do you got?
Nothing. I'm just CP always. What are you saying there, brother? That doesn't make 2 cents.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. Uber will let women drivers and riders request to avoid being paired with men starting next month, or CNBC. Oh, all right, Ramin. Yeah, swear word and then yeah. So, I mean, I remember the story that you told us about your...
What about men?
Do you don't want to be...
I don't want to, yeah.
You want...
Yeah?
You want the opposite?
Well, what if why can't I have that option? Why do only women get that option?
All right, then. All right, yeah, so there you go. We want that option too, to see.
I don't want to take it. I just want to have the option.
Just have the ability to do so. Yeah, if you ask me, dude, I'm just gonna take the bike. If you know
Yeah, well, I know.
right?
I know
Yeah,
that's
so
what you're doing, baby.
So
I know that's
if
what
I
you're
have
doing.
Anywhere substantially to go, I'm hopping on the e-bike,
I know
the
you
ride
are.
share here in the city, and I'm just just having a great time. But yeah, no, let's see what else we got going
Joey.
on here. Sharif, I told you it took me an hour to get from here to North York, all on the side
Crazy.
street. Just do. Thing goes 30 kilometers an hour if you
That's crazy.
put a little work on it.
That's actually not a bad move, though, bro. I mean, because especially where you're coming from. You're coming from the north, and if you know Toronto, if you go north, it's all uphill. If you're going south, it's all downhill. So it's an easier way coming from the north side to the south.
So I took the regular one south, but then I took the e-bike north to make it easier.
Ah,
yeah,
smart,
you know what I mean? So,
Good call, Joey Options. There you go, baby.
Using our nugget to its full capacity there. No, in all seriousness, blocks starting to come back in here. Google, pretty weak on the session. We'll take a look at it from its intraday. We're just consolidating, hovering around these lows. So I'm curious to what's going to happen with this name come that earnings report. I told you there's 2 primary metrics that I'm going to be looking at. Amazon, says Jameson. Let's take a look at that one. It better be doing something, Jameson. Otherwise, oh, yo, come on, man. A little lackluster, but it is trading off of those lows. I'll give you that. But still a nice consolidation. I'm sure they report sometime next week or the following. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on these ones. Not too much going on in the market right now. We had that one volatility spike. It's just now came back into the middle of the range. Bitcoin bouncing off of the lows, establishing a higher low, which is a positive sign. Ethereum put in a nice base right around that 2718. So this could be a multiple bottom scenario. If you want to get, yeah, I like this. I might hop right back in. But okay, never mind. As I talk about it, it is starting to head that way. So anything south of that, maybe we'll look for some indecisions on that front, and then we'll look to take a long on there, Sharif.
All right, sir. All right. Keeping my eye still here on RNAS. There we go. We just got the ad. So what do we have now on RNAS? 39s. Okay, so let's throw out some of the beak wetters over here. 39, let's just wait in the low 40s, see if this one wants to hold the volume weighted average price. I think anything below 15 gets me out of this trade, right? Because that is the volume weighted average price. So let's go ahead and throw our stop now for that level, and then we'll have to give it a little bit of room because it's not exactly spready, but it could get a little spready. So we'll throw that order out there with the 39s now showing me 38s. Not a bad look. Let's see if we can get a pop back up. Now, I did get a measly print there in the 60s as it did pop up into that level, still above VWAP, but it's still putting in lower highs. Now, how's our REPL trade doing? Also, well, I forgot to mention that I got into a HIMS as well, looking to take this one up to the top side. Got a print there to, I think, in the 60s, looking for a little bit more here as this one makes higher highs and higher lows. Let's have a look at REPL. Yeah, just got a quick print there, a couple of prints there to the upside on that latest ad, but still south of the high of the day. It's about 4 or 5 pennies south of that high of the day, so that could be a little bit of trouble right now. Let's see if this one wants to break up or what its situation is. Yeah, back to HIMS because we couldn't trade Z. Let's see if this one wants to pop back up. It's got a nice little pattern under it, but there is a seller on HIMZ at around 54s. Let me put HIMS so I have a better view here. Excuse me, give me a second. There we go. Some selling coming in at 56 penny area, still got a higher low. Prior bar low is 56. So if it loses 56, that's going to be the end of the trade because that would be a lower low. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a curl back up into the area high. So that's one thing to look at. And then now the other one that I'm involved in, there we go, REPL taking out more levels as it goes into 81s, 82s again, awfully close to that high of the day. Rodri next. Is there news for the SPY to be moving upwards? Yes, there is. The European Union and the United States are likely going to strike a trade deal to the tune of 15%. Hope that answers your question. All right, anything you got there, Joey?
Yeah, so we got a $2.
Katina Man's long Tesla.
Katina Man's long Tesla. We got a $2 super chat from our guy, Rod Remix.
Yeah, I just answered it.
Oh, did you? Sorry, yeah, I was
it's okay. It's
all
all
right,
good.
so is there news for SPY? No, it's just climbing higher. There was that news, obviously, with the EU.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Katina Man is long SPY Tesla. I'm just repeating everything Sharif just said. And then here we go, ETHA breaking through some of these lows. We're going to look for any form of indecision right there. But yeah, Healing Paying naturally. Nice to know that you're familiar and used to own a nice company in the city. But this is what we got going on. Wow, what a flush to the downside. I'm going to have to add a little bit more. I think there's going to be a big time DCA, and it's going to chew up a lot of my capital, but that's okay. I'm all right with that. I do like the forward outlook for Ethereum. Amazon not doing too much. That's why you got to get out when you're supposed to. XYZ starting to pull off of that pre-market low area that we were referring to earlier. You can see, boom, a big time rejection. $80 all the way to $79.75. Boom, and looking for this level to hold, and then maybe you can get a bounce and a continuation in that one. Sorry to deal with your, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you guys seen that? Yeah, I don't want to get too involved in that, but just in case there's some, might have to escalate that situation. But as for anything, just chilling. We'll take a look at a couple things on the options chain, the overall market. Take a look at Qs. See what that's got going on, just from an open interest standpoint. 2 days till expiry. 13,000 at 565 strike price. What was our high of the day on the Qs exactly? We'll take a gander, see if there's any correlation whatsoever, and if that's in place. So 563, so not quite. We'll take a look at it from what's been going on for the week, and then after that, we'll see what we got going on. But that's the daily. Let's go to a 1 hour chart. We'll expand this. We'll find Monday. 566 was the high. All right, so you can see there's a little bit of a supply zone, not enough demand in order for us to breach and continue higher. But then we also have a put wall at 560. What was the low on the week? 558.74. All right, so that's coming into play. Is there any substantial size on the SPY? It's been trading a little bit better than the Qs as of late, and we'll go over the top performing sectors here momentarily and see what's been the hottest over the past week.
All right, guys, big news from Vietnam's green mobility shift and a major win for VinFast, trading on the Nasdaq under ticker VFS. Starting July 1st, 2026, Hanoi will ban gas-powered motorcycles in its city center, kicking off a nationwide move towards electric transport. So VinFast is in prime position to benefit from this with major investments in the EV tech, both battery production as well as charging networks. It has a very strong head start. While others scramble, VinFast is ready, and this policy only sharpens its edge. Check out VinFast, guys, under ticker VFS on the Nasdaq. Shout out to them. Great look for VinFast. Been seeing a lot more on these cars, lately on the road. Okay, so let's just get to the trade. Currently got stopped out of RNAS as this one lost the volume weighted average price, so no continuity there. Was able to take out one beak wetter. We'll go really negative on this one. HIMS, we're taking some prints there, 49. Took out some there in the mid-60s. There's a seller of note here keeping this one down below the mid-60s. I've been waiting at 69 for a long time, going unprinted, showing me 67s now. Unable to cross. So there's literally a seller at every penny. Every time we ascend, 66, 67, 65, now we're at 68. This is trading like a small cap gapper, even though it's not. There we go, now into 70s, taking out some levels there, so we'll get some prints. There we go, into 72, 75, good breakout here for HIMS. I was trying to trade HIMZ, not available on our system. But there we go, into the 80s or so. Now I'm gonna post at 92. Let's see if we can get that continuity above $57. I'll submit to you that the real level today, despite the fact that the high of the day is 57.31, 57 is the real level because there have been no closing prints above 57, only wicks. So be on the lookout for selling as we get a lot closer to that whole dollar level now. Showing me 80s, good local area high, big seller at 80s, preventing this one from ascending. Back down into the 70s we go. So it's got 4 green candles in a row. It's time for a pullback possibly as we zig and zag. Now showing me 79s again, that seller at 80, can't shake them. So again, back into 79 we go. Let's see if we can start putting in some higher lows on the 5-second chart. Let me have a look at that so we see exactly what we're doing. Not really. We're putting in higher lows, but that seller at 80 is really blockading us from ascending any further. There does seem to be some buying possible here in the mid-60s. I want to say at around 65 to 67. We'll have to see if that ends up happening or not. So I'm keeping my patience packed here with HIMS, looking to take out some moves to the high side. Let's go ahead, though, and move up to stop from prior area low. And now we're just going to give it about 9 pennies worth of risk. We're in at 49, and we'll give it down to 39. Okay, so there we go. We'll throw in that stop there. We'll see what happens there. All right, back into 78, 77s. Again, we go. What's up, Katina Man? Tesla's trying to go, says Katina Man. Be on the lookout for TSLA up 1/5% on the day. How's that other one doing? REPL still hanging out near the bull flag range. Still a buyer at 75. We'll see if that buyer keeps stepping in. There's really no size posted, though, on the level 2 bit side of the equation, but you can see it reflected in the price action that there has been a buyer in and around that level. So pack our patience and keep an eye on that. Back to HIMS. Just keeping my eye here on the 5-second chart on the top screen, moving up into 73. Aggressive selling bringing us back down into the mid-60s. So there is selling basically at every level, and now we've been putting in lower highs for almost a minute and change. So this one, be on the lookout for some buying at 60. If it loses 60, we could definitely see some lower lows, likely in about 56 1/4, then the next area of support that I see, 56 1/3 to 56 1/4. I'll get stopped out before that. So I'll get stopped out if it loses that 49 penny area. I've tried to give it a little bit of room, but not the best day for me today. So we're going to have a bit of tighter stops here just to keep everything on the up and up. So keeping my eye on this one, definitely looking for a break above 57, Joey.
Good look there. All right, so yeah, just talking to one of my boys there, and they obviously send a list of what we got going on for the bachelor party this weekend.
Hey.
And my guy has, yeah, but the list is long. I accept everything, but he's got like 4 or 5 veggie trays on there. I'm like, dude, you're going up with a bunch of 30-year-old men. No one's gonna eat the veggie trays. Like, as much as we like them, drop the veggie trays. That's an extra $100 that we could save. And it's
crazy.
Stick with the fruit trays. It's like, listen.
Or the meat.
I get it. You go to the family function, you go to the family barbecue, you bring the veggie tray. This is a bachelor party. You're not bringing the veggie trays. Oh. All right? That's how I feel. I'm just on how I feel. That's all. All right, we're back into some Ethereum. I think that's logical. I don't know, guys. Agree with me, disagree with me, let me know. But here I am. We're back into some Ethereum. You can see that we got a volume spike, sorry, I should say, on the 5-minute, right below the support level. So I'm just giving it 20 pennies. So as soon as it comes down into 27, I'll just hop out, and then it's a half risk unit. I'll give about a little bit under half of what I made on the trade on this one to see if this one works out. I think it's worth it because Bitcoin's kind of bouncing, and we're starting to see somewhat of a bounce in the overall market as well. The SPY, just a slow grind, ran right into VWAP, didn't even get into some of these support levels, and then now it's just slowly curled over. Watch out for the lower high to be established. And then maybe that will slowly curl over. You break through some of these support levels, and I think that you can go and test the lower end of this range here. So, yeah. That's what I got cooking up. Let's go Ethereum. If it's worked once, try to take it again to see if it works a second time. And that's what the same thesis that we had there on QBTS. I haven't even looked at it since that second trade, but it's been respecting VWAP throughout the whole trading session. Okay. So what do you want to do, Sharif? You want to probably take it long off of the volume weighted average price. Okay. So that's what we got going on. QBTS, another potential entry right there. Tesla, I know Katina Man's in this from 333s. He's right in at the support level to see if this will hold. If it breaches, he's probably only going to give it $1 or so, and then he's out of that trade. Yeah, it's Simple Sunshine over under 5 Bluetooth speakers bringing. No, we're only probably gonna have.
That's a great question because you know everybody's bringing their own. That's experience talking right there. You can tell.
You know what's funny?
Yes, sir.
We were talking about that yesterday, and everybody in the chat's like, "I'm banned from the Bluetooth," and I'm like, "No, yeah." Because,
Why? What'd you do?
No, because I play
you did
style
something.
of music, right?
Okay.
No, but then
Tell
I
us.
dropped some other things. Well, listen, I still like some of the rap music, etc. And they're like, "No, we're going up north, Joey. We're not doing that." What happened?
No,
yeah,
no, I'm just complaining to myself. I got nothing to say.
A breather. So your boy. Apparently I'm only allowed a certain amount of time on the Bluetooth. So we'll try to do the best.
That says something, though, eh? That says something because the way that your friends, like the biases your friends have towards you. You know what I'm saying?
You know what's funny though? Because when we were younger in high school, I found all the music and I started all the music trends.
Okay.
But now apparently we're past that point, and we're now on to more classic rock and stuff like that. But I put in a couple good house music tunes and stuff.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Was junior high for you? Because this was my
I
experience.
didn't go to junior high.
You didn't go to junior high?
No, it was straight elementary school to high school.
But you still have like 6, 7, and 8.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
obviously.
yeah. Because you
didn't
how
have a
6,
separate
7,
school. Okay,
exactly,
no, forget.
Yeah.
I didn't really want to focus on the separate school part, but in your junior high years, that's what I mean.
6, 7.
Were you a rock alternative metal guy, and then when you graduated to high school, it flipped to rap?
Oh yeah.
And why does everybody go through this phase?
So what it was like when I was young.
Hold on, did you guys go through that? Did you guys have like a metal alternative kind of thing in junior high, and then rap in high school? Because that was my experience. I don't know.
So
What'd you say, Neil? Neil's coming in hot. Katina Man's just trading Tesla.
My junior high it was mostly hip hop and dance hall.
Okay.
Like reggae music.
Dance hall,
Dance hall I got into
there was some
university
rock
for
as
sure.
well, but my
You've been
school
living
was
that life,
like
ain't you?
more than half the school was into hip hop at the time.
Okay.
That's how it was.
That was your junior high experience.
Yeah, my junior high experience
Okay,
was mostly
gotcha,
hip hop.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, well, I mean, I told you one of my first albums ever was the Swollen Members.
Right.
Gifted Swollen Members, and then it was the Eminem show shortly after that.
Right.
So I was involved in that, but then when I moved up north, started playing hockey, it was the transition to Fall Out Boy, Billy Talent, who else was I listening to? Good Charlotte, Sum 41 and stuff like that, you know what I mean? So that was the kind of the transition. And then as soon as I started to start watching YouTube videos and playing Grand Theft Auto, it was all about other things.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
So my advice is a little different because I'm 10 years older than you, right? Yeah. But like to us, it was like 9 Inch Nails and I don't know. There was a bunch of others, Soundgarden and who else? Pearl Jam was hot at the time as well. Shout out to you guys in the chat, man. Who's this guy? Unlimited Potential. I definitely went through that. At LOL, I'm 35. So you're kind of you're more Joseph's age, though. Yeah. Mr. Turner, thank you for the super chat. $2. Put on some of that Fur Elsie Moonlight Sonata. We would. But YouTube would ding us. You know how they do. They do not want you playing other people's music. It was just a quick breakdancing video, and we got dinged the other day there for the breakdancing video. All right, guys. We're doing okay here finally on HIMS. Had to take the S1, and we're in a little bit below the $0.50, and here we go. It feels like we're knocking on the door of that whole dollar at 57. I've taken out a bunch of prints, looking for continuity above 80, but every time we make higher highs, I just want to show you on the 5-second chart what it's kind of looking like. Every time we get into this area over here, there's aggressive selling. Look at this candle over here. Look at this candle over here, this one over here. But what's operative, I think, are the higher lows. So be on the lookout for the generally higher area troughs as compared to their predecessors. But yeah, taking out a nice little amount here on HIMS, but I'm ambitious that this one can take out 57s. Back into 85 we go. I want to say local area high. Local area high certainly is 88, where the majority of the selling has come in, those at around 86 to 87. So that's what I'm keeping my eye here on HIMS. Nothing else to do for me other than to go through that. Pug Life, this jokes. I went full circle, rock, rap, freestyle, alternative, EDM, hip hop, and back to rock and alternative. Going to watch Volbeat and Hailstorm on Saturday. That sounds like a jam, my man.
I don't even know who those guys are.
Just pretend.
Okay, yeah. Sounds good. Nice.
No, I got into EDM obviously a lot older. I wasn't even into EDM at all in high school. It was really more in my university years that I got into it. So definitely I've been kind of kicking the cans a little bit on EDM music as of late. I feel like going to Veld. I don't know why.
I wanted to go to Electric
I'm 100
Island.
and I want to go to Veld.
That's fine, man. Hey,
Right?
man, live your life.
Electric Island is a little bit too, I don't know, I've been there before and there's a lot of, it's not my jam there, but
scene,
So
Same.
Veld is it's just like a bigger party.
Yeah.
Veld, what we're talking about, guys, is like an EDM party in Toronto. This big fair. Checking now. Okay. All right. So production team, if you guys can hear us, there we go. Now we're back live.
We're back, baby.
All right, we're back. Sorry about that, guys. Not sure exactly what happened there, but we're back. We're doing it freaking live. Joey, you were saying something.
Yeah. We're just looking at D-Wave options chain right here, guys. So this is where we're probably going to see that size right at that $20 target, right where that upgrade was landed. And then we haven't quite breached that yet. But what I was looking at here on D-Wave was a potential swing trade. So why was I looking at this? Look at this break, the flat top break. Hold this level, and then maybe you can take that additional leg a lot higher. I wouldn't hold it for too long. You get 1 to 2 points. You get 2 points is, I think, the primary objective, and then you get out. So you have to go substantially heavy. It's like 5 contracts, 500 shares, whatever it may be, and you take that $1,000 and you get out of Dodge. What was I gonna pull up here? Let's go Tesla. It's tanking. I thought you're short. I mean, you're long. Oh, you're going short.
Katina Man is now flipped short on Tesla, guys. Be on the lookout.
I might have to hop out of this dollar club, reverse dollar, or real dollar club there. Boom, boom, boom. There it is. Tesla short by the Katina Man as the market takes a move to the downside. We can't get right back to that level that we were experiencing here on ETHA. As soon as we break 27, I'm out of that one, and we'll take a small loss on that trade.
All right, Joey, we're going to do the news now, baby. Let's talk about ENPH. Oh, baby. Where's it at right now? Let's find out what this great stock has been doing as of late. Today, ENPH, oh my God. All right, we're down 15%. It's a tough look, guys. Tough look. I mean, it's not the best environment for them. We know that the subsidies are coming to an end, et cetera, et cetera. So let's talk about it. Shares dropped substantially in the pre-market, more now. 14.68% I see on the side chart there in the pre-market. It was down a little bit, about 7, down now to 36.25 following disappointing earnings and a guidance report. Stock's now down. Actually, I'll tell you exactly how much it's down year to date. In the pre-market, it was around 38%. Show yourself. So it is now down 47.2%. Tough look. As the pressure mounts here from the Trump administration efforts to basically cut the renewable tax credits, renewable energy tax credits. Let's talk about how their earnings report did. So adjusted EPS came in at 69 pennies. That beat the analyst expectation of 62 on revenue of $363 million, well ahead of that 359. It's not well ahead, slightly ahead of 359 million consensus by the analysts. Despite the beat, the guidance and the sector risks weighed heavily on sentiment. As a result, it's down almost 15%. Let's talk about those, the guidance. Q3 revenue forecast, 330 to 370 million. That fell short of the 369. The midpoint, of course, fell short. The high end meets it, but that's not what the street is looking for there. Tariffs could add between 3 to 5 percentage cut, I should say, between 3 to 5 percentage points on gross margins, which is not what you're looking for there, according to the CEO. Management did cite lower U.S. demand and an uncertain tax credit pathway as key overhangs for the company. And you can see, as I mentioned, down 14.75%. Just to give you an idea what the analysts are thinking about this. TD Cowen sees fewer catalysts than they had in the first half and the second half, so not really a good look there. And he cut the price target down from 45 to 40, but he maintained that held. Ben Callow from Baird, kind of the same thing there. Tesla's tanking, guys. Keep your eye out on that. Ben Callow, he prefers the utility sector for solar over residential, but does warn that tax concerns could hit both. So nobody's kind of spared at the moment right now. So Joey, ENPH down 14.75.
Yeah, really, really tough look there on ENPH. Let's zoom out. I know you just went over it from a technical standpoint as well, too, Sharif. So it's been taking it on the noggin today. There's no questioning that. Earnings report, Darren and I believe, covered last night. And there it is, $40 all the way to 36. This is not a company that you want to own for the long term. I can tell you that right now, because when was the last time it peaked? June of 2024.
Jeez.
And yeah, and what are we looking at from a percentage metric?
What are we
Down
looking at?
72%, 73. So there it is. Not a good look in end phase. Hot garbage, not investable.
All right, Katina Man's in Tesla, and we're going to do these Tesla earnings preview right now. So Elon Musk, as we know, launched the America Party, kind of trying to distance himself from the Republicans. I don't know why this thing is not stopping me out. What's going on? It's that kind of day. Investors fear that this political involvement could distract him from Tesla's core business, but he's claimed that he's back to working 7 days and he's sleeping at the office. So, you know, despite the fact that that's not good for your health, Tesla shareholders will be quite happy with that as they want him to focus on the company. Let's talk about the Robotaxi, one of the big wild cards we're going to hear about today, likely on the earnings call, if not actually in the report release. Their self-driving pilot in Austin included a dozen Model Ys, as well as a safety driver. The results were pretty good, despite what this loser who wrote this article here, I'm not going to mention her name, she's not worth it. Musk promised a San Francisco Bay Area launch as well within a month or two, but when you check with California to see whether or not he's applied for a license, they say he hasn't. So when is it going to be, Elon? Is it just going to be in Austin, or are we going to get a San Francisco one as well? And how about that $25,000 low-cost electric vehicle? He'd previously scrapped plans for it to kind of focus on the Robotaxi, but then he later reversed course and says it'll be sub $30,000. So June was the official deadline that he put, but production has not yet started, nor have we heard anything about the car. Sources are suggesting here months of delays for this Model 2 or Model Q, whatever you want to call it. Analysts did forecast at around 50,000 low-cost, sub $30,000 EVs at a $25,000-ish price point in 2025. I have my suspicions greatly about that, with visible alpha polls showing expectations are rising amongst analysts. Let's talk about the refreshed Model Y, codenamed Juniper. That also came in or got released this year, and it was expected to kind of move the needle with respect to sales. I don't know about that. Q2 deliveries fell 13.5% year over year, down to about 384,000 vehicles. Production pauses as well as redesigns, like for the headlights, a dash, and the touchscreen may not be enough in the Juniper Model Y to kind of offset demand weakness. Q3 outlook for Tesla is quite cautious. They expect about 11.2% decline, year over year decline in sales, despite the discounts and the low interest rates that they're offering. And last but not least here for Tesla, regulatory credit sales. Basically, they sell these because they're an electric vehicle company and they're green. And basically, they sell those to other companies that are not green to offset some costs. So regulatory credit sales, which is what they call a key margin buffer, likely to plunge after the legislative changes. Now, that all ends September 30th, so there will be no more EV tax credits. And they're saying it might be about their revenue in 24 from that green credit sales was $2.8 billion. 2025, though, Joey, expected to see steep declines in regulatory tax credit sales.
Yeah, so yesterday reported that California registrations down 21.1%.
Right.
I don't know if you touched on that. So very interesting stuff.
I did not
know. We also have that. So keep that in mind, guys. So the registrations in California are down year over year. But then we also have this as well, too. So keep an eye out on the three. So that's what it was currently trading at. But this is our expected move, 6.8%, with a high of around 355.97 and a low of around 310.55. Do I love this stock? Absolutely not. Do I like Elon? I do. I just think that he gets in his own way sometimes.
Who's this guy telling me not to come to California? Shut the hell up. All right, let's talk about Trump and Japan trade deal. Boosting auto stocks. So Trump announced a new U.S.-Japan trade deal, reducing auto tariffs from 25% to 15% to kind of ease the pressure on a lot of these Japanese automakers. And I'll show you what I mean in a second. The auto exports, which make up about 28.5% of all of Japan's exports, had been plunging down actually 26.7% in June alone. That's year over year on the month. Markets welcome certainly the new de-escalation between between the two countries. Economists noted the new rate is still far higher, but a lot better than feared. And what I mean, and there's also a massive investment deal that part of this trade agreement. Trump called it perhaps the largest deal ever made. You know, he's got an affinity for hyperbole, obviously, claiming Japan will invest $550 billion into the U.S., with America receiving about 90% of the profits there. The deal includes opening Japan's markets to both cars, trucks, as well as rice and other agricultural goods. And he also said it's going to create, it's going to open the door for other goods. Didn't specify what. He also said it's going to create about hundreds of thousands of jobs. Liquefied natural gas is also a part of a follow-up deal. Further trade announcements with Europe expected in the coming days, building on this Japan deal. So you had the Nikkei surge about 2%, with auto stocks leading the way. To give you some examples here, Mazda was up 17%, Toyota 11%, Mitsubishi 13%, Honda 8%, Nissan 8%. So good luck for this deal, Joey. I like the fact that we're actually getting some deals done. And, you know, it always hurts the negotiating party when they're under pressure to make a deal. So when you have like the media coming out to you every day saying, where are the deals at? Where are the deals at? And you have so much pressure to get a deal, right? It hurts your negotiating hand with the other party. And there's that one side. The other side is the Supreme Court's gonna decide whether or not he has the executive power to actually do this. Remember, it got upheld in appellate court, so Supreme Court's going to decide on July 31st.
Based off the fentanyl claims. Is that?
No, it was a completely different thing.
But remember when he got caught a little bit of heat? Different thing.
Yeah, you're right about that. But that's not the move now. The move now is whether or not he has the authority. Remember, it got upheld in the Court of Appeal, and now it's going to Supreme Court. So what I'm trying to get at here, not to talk about the legal stuff, to say, if you're the other side of the party, you're Japan, you're Indonesia, you have less of a motivation to strike a deal before July 31st, because what if it comes out negative for Trump? It might, probably won't. He's been getting most of the Supreme Court his way, decisions his way. But what incentive do you have to make one before that, other than the deadline he posted on August 1st?
Absolutely. So you're saying so I hear what you're saying. So if you just prolong it, then eventually it seems like you can somewhat have the ball in your court.
A little bit.
Right.
So he's been kind of hurt in two ways, what I'm trying to get at here. One, he's constantly under pressure
from the
to strike a deal from the media, internally as well from the other political party, as well as the fact that the overhang of the legality of what he's doing. And so there hasn't been as many deals perhaps as he had thought or we wanted to see by now, right? So that's it.
Well, that's why our guy JD was saying, hey, you need to keep continuously pushing this deadline out.
Right.
He's
Absolutely.
done it twice, so.
All right, let's keep going over here. Texas Instruments beats Q2. It wasn't a bad guide, guys, but it was definitely not as exuberant as the street wanted. Let's talk about how they did on earnings. EPS came in at $1.41. The street wanted $1.35. Check on the bottom line. How about the top line? $4.45 billion in revenue on $4.36 estimate. Top line, bottom line beat, no problem. Revenue also grew a healthy 16% year over year, kind of led by the strong demand for analog chips, which are integral in AI. We know that, which rose 18% year over year, now up to about $3.5 billion, which beat the estimates for analog chip sales of $3.39 billion. So everything was fine for the current quarter. Net income as well climbed 15% year over year, up to $1.3 billion from the earlier year. On the quarter, 1.13. So good look there. Now, how about that guide that we were talking about? Soft Q3 guidance. EPS outlook, they're guiding 136 to 160. The midpoint just slightly above that 150 consensus. So a beat with respect to EPS on guidance. How about revenue? 4.45 to 4.8, with the midpoint being 4.652, ahead as well of the consensus estimate of 4.59. But that was not strong enough to keep the bulls excited, because we saw what happened to Texas Instruments, down about 10%. I think it's SSR. Some of the key segments that they have here, their analog business. As I mentioned, analog chips, integral for AI, heavily exposed as well to auto and industrial. That drove upside, aligning with the broader trends in the legacy chip market. A name that I have in my portfolio, MCHP, also sells these analog chips, and they also sold off in sympathy with the Texas instruments miss. They also have U.S. expansion in focus. Obviously, they got to build domestically now with the new regulatory headwind. So they reaffirmed a $60 billion chip factory expansion in Texas as well as Utah. And the move supports, obviously, Joey, the reshoring narrative demanded by Donald Trump. So not a bad report, but not good enough for the street.
No, not good enough. You want to see a surprise. The street likes surprise, and that wasn't the case. So here you go. You can see this was the earnings report. Last night, Adair and I touched on this. Boom. What happens when you exceed that expected move the following session? You get another leg down there, Sharif. So we're hovering around 187.61, and the expected move was roughly around 5 or 6% on this one. It breached it, and then and then you get that continuation to the downside. You have the option to like and subscribe.
There you go.
This trade has unlimited upside. You like and subscribe.
Shout out to Sava something or another. I don't know where the hell this thing went. Here we go. Fan funding. Shout out to Savage too. Thank you very much for the $10 super chat. Love you guys. Amazing show. LFGO. Can we look at Netflix? Just looking at the 1170 floor giving out. Joey, do you want to have a look at that?
Absolutely. 1174 floor. I know Adara was involved in this name yesterday. 1174. Oh, that floor. I see what you're getting at. Yeah, that's a consistent support level right there, right? If you want it to breach, well, what you want to do is instead of selling the lows, you can start building your position, but you want to get in at the top end of the range. That's going to drastically improve your risk to reward, because if it breaks and holds, then you can just hop out opposed to having it at the lower end of the range. Or you wait if you're going to sell the lower end of the range for things to turn around and that volume really picks up as you break through support. That's when you want to get involved there on NFL.
All right, let's talk about AT&T. They also reported earnings today. Solid beat, tepid guidance weighs on sentiment, says the article headline. EPS of 54, beating the street of 53. Estimate revenue $30.09 billion, beating the street's estimate of $30.5 billion. A modest beat on both the top and bottom line. Revenue did grow nicely, though, 3.5% year over year, really driven by wireless gains and cost efficiency. The stock dipped, though, at least in the pre-market, as investors kind of expected more given what Verizon had reported. It was more upbeat than AT&T, so a bit of a sell-off. Don't really know where it's trading at right now. You guys can have a look. With respect to their guidance, full-year EPS got narrowed a little bit, $1.97 to 207. They had it a little bit wider before, and their free cash flow also expected to take a hit about to $16 billion, but they did reaffirm their prior outlook. Investors kind of may have been hoping for a raise in the guidance, right? Especially after Verizon, as I mentioned, upgraded their own guidance on Monday, and there's really no fresh side catalyst, or fresh upside catalyst, I should say, that was offered on the earnings call, which may have disappointed at least the shorter term traders. So it sold off as a result. The capital plans backed by Trump's tax windfall, they expect as a result of that $6.5 to $8 billion in tax savings, with a $3.5 billion earmark here for the fiber network expansion. The company's also doubling down on its 5G as well as broadband bundling, kind of leveraging the Trump era tax incentives to take advantage of that and pass it on to the consumers. And the broadband was an interesting area for them here, as it was for Verizon as well. Recent broadband growth was kind of fueled by consumer churn from rivals as well as enterprise wins. So it wasn't really organic. It was more taking your competition as well as expanding B2B instead of B2C. AT&T also gaining from Lumen's weakened residential fiber footprint, giving it a tailwind in the suburban expansion. So AT&T, you're probably just in this for the divvy, right? Like, I mean, I can't anticipate too many people looking at this as a growth stock anymore.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not too bad here on the daily, to be honest with you.
Not bad, eh?
No, it's not horrible, you know what I mean? So, I mean, it's doubled in price in a couple of years, but I mean, hey, we'll take it. It's better than depreciating in price. But let's zoom in and see what we got going on from an intraday standpoint. This is really, really nice. And I wish I had my eyes on this morning now that I'm looking at it. This is prime time setup for me. Hammer candle, volume, you breach through the volume weighted average price, and it's just a steady grind to the top side. So just keep that in mind. I got to keep my eyes more on some of these earnings play. You get the initial sell-off. Pre-market puts it in engulfing, says 5-minute hammer candle as well too, supporting volume. And then as soon as you break through some of these support pre-market resistance levels, it's off to the races there, Sharif, on AT&T.
All right, let's talk about the other big Mag 7 name that's reporting today after the bell. It goes by the ticker. It's got 2 tickers. One's 4 letters, one's 5 letters. I'll let you guys guess what it is. Google, Alphabet, EPS, Wall Street expects anyway, of 218, excuse me, per share versus the 189 that they printed last year on the quarter on revenue of $94 billion. That implies an 11% bump year over year on the quarter. The bulls, though, will be watching for Google Cloud performance.
Ooh, who said that?
Yeah, exactly, right? The bulls will be watching for Google Cloud performance. Joey, they're forecasting Google Cloud to grow at about 27% year over year, making it one of their top performing segments. It's between that one and YouTube. Any miss, though, in cloud growth could weigh very heavily on the post-earnings sentiment, so be on the lookout for how they report on cloud. Let's talk a little bit about their CapEx, because we know the hyperscalers, save and except for Apple, have been spending hand over fist on the AI build-out. And Alphabet, no different. They spent $54 billion in 2024 on CapEx, which was already a 63% bump year over year, with projections for 2025, that is, expected to be about $75 billion. And in Q1 of this year of 2025 alone, they already spent $17 billion on CapEx. It's really more AI-related infrastructure spend. Q2 estimates for spend sit around 18, so very similar to what they spent in Q1. So 17 for Q1, projecting 18 for Q2. So you got to say the great majority of that spend, if it's going to be $75 billion, has to be in H2 of this year. Let's talk about their search business. This is the one that everyone is really worried is going to get disrupted, Joey. And Google's search business, which makes up, listen to this, guys, 76% of all their revenue, total revenue, comes in from their search business. Expected to grow, and this says only, but 8% is still healthy. Expected to grow 8% year over year, although still dominant globally, meaning search. AI native search engines like the OpenAI, the Perplexities, they're really gaining mindshare amongst users. Google is countering with their AI mode. Now, if you guys use Google search engine lately, you'll see the AI summaries at the top. Those kind of have been not a bad tool, but margins could still be affected if they face long-term erosion of search. Let's talk about the AI threats and how they affect margins as well. Despite Google search holding a 90% market share outside of China, that is for search, fears persist over how they're going to monetize that, especially now that they're really focusing on AI summaries as opposed to the blue link organic searches, right? Investors are watching closely for signs of cannibalization or weaker click-through rates. So that's something definitely to keep an eye on. Or listen to for the call. Now let's talk a little YouTube here. YouTube and Google Cloud are their 2 fastest growing segments. YouTube short growth on YouTube and YouTube TV, I should say. Performance remain bright spots. Joey, we'll have to keep an eye on that to see how they report for YouTube.
Well, that's what I was talking about earlier. I brought this up last night as well, too. Those are the 2 primary metrics that I'm going to be looking at. I want to see cloud growth and search growth. Now, Sundar, they're implementing AI features into the search engine. What did Sundar have to say about that? It's going to lead to more prompts and longer ones as well, too. So we'll keep an eye out on that. That's something I'm really going to be focusing on. I think if they have the ability to beat on cloud, that we have the chance to climb or get relatively close to the previous all-time highs. And if they beat on expectations on search growth, then there's no question, I think, that we're going to continue to see this name grind higher. Beautiful move. This was somewhere around their previous earnings day there. But once we crack through that 181 level, now traded up to 192 roughly, I think that there's somewhat of a buy program. Beautiful channel right here. I think it can be continued. But cloud growth, search growth, very, very important.
Oh, look at that. There you go. That's our mobile feed, guys. Make sure you're checking that out. Yeah. Guys, I'm not long HIMS. I haven't been long HIMS for a while. We got out over here. So the position board is wrong, guys. I just noticed that. I do apologize. I hope nobody was really looking at that. I haven't been long HIMS for a while, since around 110, so about 20 minutes ago. Let's keep going over here. Crypto market takes a dip despite the macro tailwind. So major cryptos are lower, at least today in the morning, despite the bullish macro backdrop from the Trump-Japan deal. I'll just give you some stats over here. CoinGlass reported about a little more than 106,500 liquidations in just a 24-hour period, totaling about $267 million. That's for all of these ETFs, not just Bitcoin. The spot Bitcoin ETF saw yesterday anyway, $67.9 million net inflows, while Ethereum ETFs had about 33.9. So still more dollar value in Bitcoin, but as you can see lately, and as Joey pointed out earlier, ETH has definitely been catching a bit of a tailwind. And some of the technicals here being discussed by the technicians on BTC they're talking about bull flags here. So the BTC is holding steady above its bullish flag breakout with clean structure and momentum validated last week. Key levels here to look for are 112,000 as support. They're saying that really kind of has to hold. If so, that move to $140,000 remains in play. Many traders, though, are eyeing that $117,000 to $120,000 range as a retest region before a potential breakout and continuation into this $140,000 area. So, Joey, it's been interesting here for Bitcoin lately. You and I talked about this earlier, the decorrelation between it and the Qs, and, you know, not something that I don't welcome.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we know that what's going on with Ethereum, right? So I think it's only a matter of time. When you get this adoption, everyone's going to be like, hey, I don't want to buy it at this price. So you're going to experience a pullback, and then sure enough, it's going to rip. So if you're over leveraged, it might just wick you out and then continue to climb higher. But think about it from a bigger picture. There's no question that I think that Ethereum, now with the Genius Act, has the ability to get to all-time highs. Now, the thing is with Bitcoin, I'll say it once, I've said it once, I'm going to say it again. We go on these moves, and we enter a consolidation phase, and then we go to another, into another move, consolidation phase. Now, we have to continuously break these in order to get to 140. I don't know what Tom Lee's talking about, $1 million in a couple of years. That would be 10 times of what we're essentially trading at. I don't know if that's necessarily going to be the case. I'll take it. But you're going to need to see some large moves in Bitcoin in order for us to get that target. And the same thing with Ethereum. We're going to reach those all-time highs. It's just a matter of, it's not if, it's just when. But things take some time, especially now that there's a lot of institutional influence.
Well said, Joey. Let's talk about the tokenization of money market funds. This was really interesting. Not like I've ever really been involved in treasuries, but good to know that this is where it's going. So Goldman Sachs and Bank of New York Mellon, are enabling institutional investors to buy tokenized money market funds, MMFS. Ownership will be recorded on Goldman's blockchain platform, kind of streamlining custody as well as transactions. The move marks a key digital asset innovation targeting $7.1 trillion money market fund. We know that it's way bigger than the equities. BlackRock, Fidelity, Federated Hermes, as well, and the asset arm of both Goldman and BNY are already involved in this whole thing. It kind of signals institutional commitment to tokenization as the next major step in the digital asset adoption. And unlike stable coins, there's yield in the money market, right? We know that, right? That's what the 10-year, the 30-year, the yields on those, we're always talking about them. So unlike stable coins, tokenized MMFs pay a yield, making them attractive to, hedge funds, pensions, corporations. It combines the benefits of stable value assets with the yield, which is a key differentiator in the cash management strategy. So not a bad look here from Goldman teaming up with BNY, Joey, to kind of tokenize some of these market funds.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm short some Tesla here to see if we can get a continuation, also just to see if the position board's working. But you can see also just step back into Bitcoin, lower end of the range. I wouldn't be surprised if it snaps and then maybe heads a little bit lower there. But yeah, I'm short Tesla. I'm not going to give this very much room, a couple pennies at most. And if it does continue to grind higher, it did this yesterday. It's almost the exact same pattern as yesterday's session, liquidity grab, and then all day grind higher. And then we also have the earnings report as well too. So just keeping an eye out for that. If it does break through this consolidation zone, I'm out of this trade right there, Sri.
All right, let's talk about the new new accredited investor rule. It got passed by the House yesterday, so let's talk about it. It's called the Equal Opportunity for All Investors Act, and it was passed by the House on Monday, not yesterday, aiming to expand who qualifies as an accredited investor. If you recall, I went on a rant that I don't need to be babysitted by the government, and I don't need anybody screening my investments for me. So now we've kind of gotten a little bit more towards that. There is still a test to be done. So under the bill, individuals, don't have to be institutions, could qualify by passing an SEC-designed knowledge-based test rather than meeting current income or net worth thresholds, which you can't really control at any one time, but you can control your knowledge. The goal here is to democratize access to the private markets like VCs, hedge funds, and pre-IPO equities, areas typically closed to non-wealthy individuals. We know that to be the case. The current standards and the proposed changes. Let's talk about these. So today's rule requires about $200,000 in income, individual income that is, or a $1 million net worth, excluding your primary residence home. So you can't include that in the assessment. These standards haven't been adjusted for inflation in decades, passively expanding eligibility over time. The new test would assess understanding of securities, understanding of risk, as well as liquidity, the financial disclosure issues, shifting the emphasis really here from wealth and how much money you have to your actual sophistication as an investor. I can certainly get behind that. Despite the fact that anyway, I'll get to that in a second. The market impact here could be more capital and more participants as it kind of democratizes, liberalizes some of these off-market investments. The bill is designed to open the private market floodgates, so to speak, offering startups more access to investor capital. Firms like Alto and fintech platforms are already kind of preparing for the increased demand and the participation, and it could bring more diverse investor base into a previously restricted market from these institutional qualified investors, boosting obviously liquidity and valuations in an early investing stage. So I really, really like this, Joey, and we already saw that Robinhood and SoFi already want to bring you non-public market companies like the SpaceX's and the OpenAI's via tokenization, which has been kind of...
They weren't too happy about that.
They
were not happy about that whatsoever. But guys, eSignal, new traders, listen up. First month, free. That's right. We're waiving fees, trade smarter, not harder. Upgrade to Elite, analyze, strategize, capitalize. Our platform, it's everything. Infinite data, instant trading, lightning fast market insights, game-changing charts, predict with backtesting, reliable real-time data, global markets at your fingertips, all in one platform. Don't miss out. Execute your best trades now. Ready to elevate your trading? Scan the QR code or check the link in the description. Yeah, I've been messing around with this thing. I really like eSignal quite a bit. So we're gonna figure out some more stuff, even some good things potentially coming here. So it's gonna bring a lot of new things if we do get what I'm talking about working out. Symbols and just like consistent lists. This is what I'm talking about. This thing is beautiful. I still gotta mess around with it a little bit there. To be honest, I don't even know how to log out of it. And so we'll figure that one out here momentarily. I don't think it takes rocket science, obviously, to figure that one out for all my Trailer Bark Boys fans. So let's see what everybody else in the chat's up to. I'm just kind of chilling. I took a little bit of size there on Tesla short, just for the continuation to the downside. You get that pullback. You're at the top end of the range. I'll pull it up here just so you can see. Yeah. Full risk, boom, boom, boom. Let's see if we can get this move towards the lower end. If it comes back to my break even, then I'll just hop out of that trade, no problem whatsoever. And let's see what everybody else is cooking up. Joe, well, I think we get the point. The liquidity will come from more funds, opening up funds to hold a bit of crypto, trillions in liquidity added. I don't think so. Yeah, and that's what we're getting at. So, and to the individual who said, like, don't think that I'm bearish on crypto whatsoever, because I'm not. It's the polar opposite. I've been building a pretty decent position in Ethereum as of late, and I'm willing to continue to do so. I've been holding literally IBIT since the IPO. I was involved in Dogecoin in my earlier days. I was involved in Bitcoin and Ethereum as well too, using a Canadian brokerage called CoinSquare for those who are familiar with that. So yeah, I'm an absolute crypto bull. There's no questioning that. But trillions are not flowing in. You got to make sure you do your facts and double check them. You get the billions of inflows, but as my guy Pug Life said, the total market cap of crypto is $4 trillion. So That's all assets combined, but there is a lot of money inflowing. I think there's going to continue to do so. Bitcoin ETF, IBIT, that is the greatest ETF launch of all time. Your boy bought that right at the IPO. We like that. What, guys, let me know in the chat. Grayscale dropped the ball so hard. Why? Hold on one second there, Fabian. Grayscale dropped the ball so large on their Bitcoin ETF launch. Their management fees, when no one else was, I think even Kathy, the BlackRock, no management fees. Grayscale decides to put in a management fee, and look what happens. It was leading at one point. It was putting in more volume than IBIT was, and I don't even know what Grayscale has been up to anymore. GBTC.
Yeah, I haven't been looking at that
right?
at all.
At all. It's like, does this thing even, is that what it is? What is the Grayscale? I don't even remember. I thought it was GBIT.
BITO, I think. BITO.
No, that's
GBTC.
GBTC. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, GBTC. So this was leading at first, but then I think it was the CEO or something put too high of a management fee on the ETF, and everybody's like, why would I trade this when I can own IBIT with no management fee?
Exactly.
And they dropped the ball large, and I think he got fired on.
And they had first mover advantage, man. They didn't take advantage of that.
But they got greedy and put in a ridiculous management fee. I
Right.
think it was like, I forget what it was, but it was fractions. But everything else, Kathy Wood, BlackRock, essentially no management fee, but Grayscale decided.
And let's be honest, Joey, you want to punch into BlackRock or you want to punch into Grayscale? Yeah. I mean, just from the institutional name.
I'm going BlackRock,
right?
Yeah.
Especially if there's a lower management fee. I mean, that's crazy. Right?
That's what really messed them up. They really messed up on that one. I'm surprised they haven't changed it since. I don't know why I can't pull it up here on eSig. Can you pull it?
It's, I got it right here. Hold on. So we're going to load it up. It's GBTC. Let's load that bad boy up.
There it is.
There it is. Yeah. So let's throw the daily on that bad boy. See what kind of, what is this hot garbage?
Yeah, man.
Well, it's certainly off the COVID. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so here from the lows, let's go.
The tracking error is still the same. It has a relatively close tracking error to Bitcoin,
okay.
Right? It's the management fees that messed it up, and now that's why the liquidity is scarce in it, because no one's trading it. Interesting. The management
fee, what is the liquidity on that? Like, how many shares have we done today? We got 1.43 million. That's nothing. Let's compare it to IBIT. IBIT is doing 23.7. So yeah, your point very well taken there, Joseph. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Let's look at some of the small cap gappers that we had at least in the morning or earlier in the afternoon. There's really not much happening at the moment. Nothing is breaking out at the moment. Only HIMS is looking closer to the high of the day, but that's not really a small cap gapper. Everything kind of breaking down. Keeping my eye on the scanner to see if there's anything coming in new, but it really has not been the day for these small cap gappers, and that's just the way it goes. Like, some days they're going to be in play, some days they won't. Just having a look here to see if there's anything new. YYAI, I'm seeing this one make its way onto the scene, but not really exploding at all. YYAI, the ticker. There it is, getting into that $2 area. That's a look at YYAI on the 5. Connexa Sports Technologies. What do? They operate. Am I reading this right? Operates across the love and marriage sector. What the hell does that even mean? I don't even want to trade this.
What the hell is even that?
What the helly? What the Halle Berry?
What the hell is even that?
So we have that off. We have that one, by the way. So YYAI, Joey, it's breaking out into 203 there. There we go. So this, there you go. Shout out to Assassino. 205. This is actually breaking out. Chill, daddy. So this one's actually on the warpath to the high side. 205 breakout on YYAI. It's up 44%. Let's load this up on a trading screen and get a gander of how the spread looks on this. YYAI, I'm assuming on the NQ, and I'm right there. It is taking out a new high a day. This one's breaking out, guys. Be on the lookout here. YYAI on the move up. Big move up into 212. This one's blasting through too. Almost 50% in Greensville now. How do we set up here? Let me flip to the 5-second so we can kind of gauge where the micro pullbacks are. Here's the move back into 2. Do we hold 2 here, or what's the situation? Let's take a weaseling little trade there. Let's set up a little bit higher and see if we can get maybe something in the 12s or 11s. There's certainly a seller at 10 keeping us down right now. Let's see if we can take another beak wetter there. Just keeping an eye on this one, looking for that break into 2 mid-teens. Definitely looking for a hold of 2 though. Let's see if we can set up to defend that $2 level. What do we have on 7? So we're still printing on this. We'll take another beak wetter there as it moves into the high. There it is at 12s now. Seller at 12. Can't shake that seller at 12. Let's wet the beak at 12s, or sorry, 11s. So let's see if we can get the continuity here through this level. YYAI midday mover here, Joey.
Yeah, nice look there, guys. We took a little scalp on TSLL. Now we're not out of this name here. So you get that move to the downside. Nice precision entry. Thank you, Fabian, for making me take that. So I wanted to be a little bit precise. Yeah, you say, yeah, Joe, I need a little test trade to make sure everything's going. I'm like, all right, let's see what Tesla's up to. Continuation to the downside. You pop in right there. You get this move. Didn't catch the lower end of the range, but then I just got out of that one there just because we're leading into earnings. I wouldn't be surprised if it starts to slowly grind higher. Ethereum right back towards my previous entry points, but you see we got stopped out. Whole point of getting out there. We gave back a little bit of what we gained on this potential trade and that momentum. Boom, boom, all the way to the top side. Boom. Shorty go bum bum bum. See that? Yeah, I forget that. Who sings that song?
It's like B2K, I think.
Is it B2K?
Isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's B2K. So there it is, a nice grind higher back into the Qs, guys, and this is what we were talking about. We seen this yesterday. Wow, look at the SPY go. Wow, no way. We're right at the high of the day. Keep an eye out for this one. Nice, strong volume supporting it as well, too. So a big-time move in the SPY, and we talked about it slowly turning around. So you have this volatility spike, comes back, pulls back, holds some key support levels, and then grinds right back higher. And that's what I was talking about a couple people in the chat. I'm like, this market, I've tried for a couple of days to be shorting it. It's not ready. It's either it's going to work relatively quick or it's just going to continue to do these things. We're clearly in a bull market. Dips are being bought, and then that's why you can see these, after every flush, you get this continuous slow grind to the top side, and we've seen that in the likes of 2 sessions so far this Sharif. In the yesterday, aggressive selling, slow grind higher, you didn't recover as much, but the same thing this morning, flush out of the open for the first half an hour, and then you get a nice, slow, clean grind back to the top side there on the overall market.
Baby, turn around and let me see that. Go bum, bum, bum. All right, don't worry about it, Ram Ram. You're
you don't
10.
know that song? You don't know that
10,
song?
bro. She doesn't know that song.
No way. That is
I know.
crazy.
Well, I mean, she can't control her age, right?
No. But
when you're like 3 years old.
But hey, man, I listen to like older stuff too. That's like some classic
that's true.
stuff.
Adira does as well. So Ram Ram has no excuse. Adira, I mean, Ram Ram, you're like 6 months younger than Adira, right?
Were you raised? Saudi.
Yeah, you don't know that?
No, I didn't know.
You're just getting to know her now, man?
Well, yeah, she never told me. Now I know.
Oh, okay.
Hit the now you know. No, we're not getting that.
There we go. There's my guy. Shout out to Assassino, bro. Assassino killing it on the ones and twos.
Let's go.
All right, Joseph, we're doing it freaking live. Finally, man, we get a good trade on our hands right now on YYAI. We got O2s on. I've scalped up into the high of the day, which is 16s. We had some good shareage here. We have some decent shares on. Anything below 2, and it's all over, okay? So we're going to go with 98s, and then, yeah, anything below that $2, it's all over. Eduardo, come on now, bro. Stop trolling me. I'm not singing again. Now that you want me to sing, Eddie, I'm not going to sing. So shout out to you, my man. You got to tell me not to sing. Then maybe I'll sing. All right, so we're
sing, man. Don't sing.
No, you can't set it up like that, Joe. You got to be surreptitious about it.
You live in karaoke town too, so
I do. I like Koreatown is just a little bit north of where I live, and yeah, man, the Koreans love their karaoke. They love karaoke, Joey. Yeah, go there Saturday night.
You remember that Chris Rock scene from
Is it Rush Hour?
Rush Hour, and he's like, yeah, that's me on the mic.
That's exactly it. All right, we're having a good time, guys. All right, so what I'm watching
Chris
here,
Tucker.
Chris Tucker. Yeah. I know. That's what you meant. I figured that's what you meant. So what I'm keeping my eye on here, guys, as you know, I've been keeping my eye on the 5-second chart. It looks like we're in the bull flag phase now of this YYAI breakout. Anything, again, I mentioned below $2 gets me out. We've scalped out nicely here, but we still got some shares. Now, I'm posted at 16s. That is the high of the day, so we did work into 16, but couldn't cross. Let's see if this one's got the juice to stay up above $2. There have been buyers in and around the low 2s, but here we go. Now, we're dipping into 203. I'm long 202s. Anything below 2 gets me out of the trade. And if it ends up wicking me out and moving back along its merry way to the high side, I can always get back in and participate, but this this YYAI, really the only small cap gapper that I see anyway, moving. REPL, I'm seeing on the side chart here, found support at the volume weighted average price at around 340. It's now trying to work its way back above the $0.50. REPL, another ticker we were involved in today, but the one I'm focusing on right now is YYAI, coming back into my entry price here at 02. So there it is, dipping back into 2. So this will stop us out. So we'll give back a little bit there. Still positive on YYAI. Let's see if it finds support here. Oh, the 10. It did find support at the 10 at 92s. Let's see if it continues to find support there so we can get back in. Yeah, so that was probably wrong thing to do there. Probably should have been basing it on the 10 EMA rather than on 2. Let's give this one another gander over here, see if it finds more support and pops back up. Just looking at the 5 over here, we're still in a downtrend here on the 5-second chart, so I'm not going to jump in quite yet. Yeah, I'll pack my patience here. This one is losing the bid a little bit. So YYAI kind of losing a little bit. Not a bad trade, John.
Cool, yeah, Tesla Long working really well there. Okay, yeah, so there you go. Congratulations to you. So I'm glad that that's really printing up a storm. So good job, buddy. There you go. You want something? I can give you a pat on the back too, and a hero cookie. I give those out as well. Just
you don't even eat cookies.
Yeah, but I give the hero cookies out.
That's a good point.
Yeah. You know what I mean? You got to give them out to those who are less
who are doing well. Hero cookies, right?
Oh, yeah.
Does that mean that they did something well?
They've done something positive, yes. You get a hero cookie if you've done and accomplished something there. So that's what my little Milo gets a hero cookie. Good job, buddy. You did this, you get a hero cookie.
Hey.
So yeah, there it is on that one. So yeah, now you know, bang. Yeah, but that's what we got going on. We got out of this Ethereum trade earlier. We'll just do a quick trade review on what I went through today. QBTS. What happened? Why are you laughing?
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Why?
Everything's fine, Joey. Everything's absolutely fine.
Man, yeah, no. I'm not having that anymore. But did I just do that right now? When was
from
that?
earlier.
Oh, was it? All right, yeah.
Come on, bro. That's a face only a mother could love right there. It's still a handsome as hell.
That is crazy. That is insane.
Oh, wow. Guys, can I show the picture?
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah, show them the picture. Send it to us, and we'll put it up there to see what. Yeah.
This is what Ram does. This is why she's sinister,
She's
bro.
Yeah. Dude, the YouTube short is just pure, just a mockery of me. So yeah, crazy stuff, man, crazy stuff. But it's all right.
Yeah, you're a good sport about things. You're always a good sport about stuff, though.
Listen,
straight up.
I can take the beating,
you
right?
can,
but just be prepared to.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
But she doesn't, though.
No, she's good.
I gotta give her credit. She's not too bad.
She's not too bad. So
So
yesterday, like some days, I remember one day I'm just sitting here just working. And she walks by and she goes, "Leave me alone." And I'm like, I didn't even say anything or do anything.
Yeah, that's the day
I
you know.
literally was just living life, and she's like, "Leave me alone." And I'm like, I wasn't gonna say anything
I know
whatsoever.
what days not to talk to her. If I see her coming in the morning and she's on the phone and she's in a heated conversation, I don't want to say who she's talking to, but I know it's one of two people she's talking to. And then either way, I don't want to talk to her after that.
And like she was over there, and she was walking over there, and I'm like, "What?" And she's like, "What?" I didn't even say anything.
She'll fight you.
I'm like, all right.
She'll fight you.
I'm like, all right, whatever, man. That's what we got going on. So, Tesla Long's working out really well there.
Get it, Ram. We love you. You know that.
Let me give this guy a quick shout out here.
Who's that?
Who was it? Let's see. I can't even find his name anymore. That's how relevant it was. But anyway,
damn, Joey.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm getting at. And, hey, man, listen. I got terms for days.
I know you do. You're a hockey guy. I mean, I could expect that.
Days. But yeah, no, I'm just chilling right now. Straight fast for trading. Tesla, we took a little scalp on that. I was doing a trade review. That's what I forgot I got into before I befriend. I was being made a mockery of, but that's okay. No, I'm joking. There it is. No,
why were you even like that? Ram, why'd you even screenshot him like that? What was he doing?
Because, man, she's going to come up with something. It's going to be on the front page of a YouTube short. What did I do?
HIMS is breaking out, guys.
Cover that real quick, and I'll do trade review.
All right, well, I'll cover my trade. We're back in, guys. We've scalped up again. This one defended too, so I punched back in. We've scalped up the majority of the position. I have a couple of outs left based on what I currently have, and it's going to go at current bar low. So this is going to have to hold trend. What the hell is the current bar low? 195. So we get out at 194 for the remaining last two outs on this bad boy. Otherwise, we want no smoke. Want no smoke. So, HIMS. It's breaking out. I feel really bad about how I traded this, but this teaches me to stay in my wheelhouse and not deviate. Just because something's moving like a small cap gapper in terms of volatility and percentage up on the day doesn't mean it trades like one. So HIMS taking out highs. Wow, look at this. I wouldn't have been able to figure out to get into here. I mean, this breached all my, it didn't breach, it didn't respect any of the levels that I would have been eyeing, right? What we had was lower highs. We did have a double bottom at 55.75. Not an area I would have been looking at. 57.50 now the high of the day. This doesn't have a red candle since 125. It's 155 minus 30 seconds right now. So HIMS at the high of the day, up 14% and change. I don't even know what the catalyst is. I kind of don't care. So we're going to keep an eye out on that. But I'm still in this position on YYAI, looking for a break above 10. I posted at 11, then I posted up at 18s over here, which requires a high day break because we're currently 216 the high of the day on YYAI. So let's see what this one does. But it's really HIMS show right now, taking out highs into that $0.50, Joey.
Good.
Oh, Vaughn Clark, thank you for the $5 super chat. Is the flat top break over for Ford? Let's see what Ford is doing. So they reported earnings. When did they report earnings? Did they report? Yeah, they did, right? Was it GM that reported?
GM reported.
Thank you.
GM
Yeah, guys.
reported, yeah.
All right, so flat top break. You're talking about the 1145. Yeah, certainly.
Double top, bro. That's a double DT right there.
And the thing is, you wicked above it 3 times, but that seller at 1145 was absolutely adamant in their position because you wicked above it over here at 10:10, you wicked above it at 12:05, and then you did it again at 12:15, all of which failed. But you were putting in higher lows, so I can completely see why you were thinking flat top break, ascending wedge. Didn't end up happening that way. It doesn't always, right? So you just got to take the L's with the dubs, and let me know how it goes next time, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so Sharif, we experienced another big spike here. We'll go over the trade review momentarily, but look at the volume step in. So that's going to be the second largest print on the SPY throughout the session. And relatively close to the same thing there on the Qs. But there it goes, a nice recovery, hammer candle, almost a double top formation right there. Let's zoom out and see what did Spile say?
No, it's Neil. He's like, for the record, I know B2K. Like, yes, that's awesome, Neil.
Okay, all right. So just making sure. Neil,
just Ram that doesn't know.
Yeah, that doesn't know.
That's fine.
Fabian, do you know B2K? Let's see if Fabian knows there.
Fabian, you know B2K, the boy band? B2K, the boy band, B2K. Do you know them? No. Assassino?
No, that's okay. It's all right.
Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, to each their own. Dude, Sharif, this is interesting, right? Because we waited.
Oh boy.
Katina Man actually asked me earlier in the year. He asked all of us actually, and he said, "Do we believe that the SPY is going to put in a new all-time high?" And I said, "There's 0 chance." Right, this is a little bit premature. This is maybe early April. Why are you hitting me the fail? I'm putting statistics up. This is crazy. I said there's no chance. Well,
it did hit though, right?
Yeah. Well, now we just put in a new all-time high. And we're not even really talking about it here. So there it goes. The SPY putting in a new all-time high on the session. A quiet one, and then we'll take a look at the Qs, and then we'll do a quick trade review before.
Were you adding at the April lows?
No, I wouldn't.
You didn't add at the April lows?
No, I liquidated Tesla and Google and everything.
I remember that. Yeah, but that's not. I'm not asking you to tell me about the bad trades. Did you add into any of your longer term positions?
Robinhood and NVDA.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, Robinhood and NVDA. So that was. Tell me how that one worked out there.
There you go. So even though you predicted, your actions said something a little bit different.
Yeah, right? I did. Like in full disclosure, I did sell at the lows, but I just essentially broke even on trades that I've been holding for the longer period of time, and just rotated the cash into different names.
It's a beauty,
right? So that worked out for it. That worked out for it. Hit the mission respect too. That's one of my favorite ones on there. But here it is. Let's see if Assassino's quick on that one. But no, the Q's not. There we go. Yeah.
Hey, that's my guy.
There you go. That's my favorite one. But no, there it is. The Q's slightly lagging there, guys. SPY more balanced and diverse, putting in that new all-time high. All right. So just keep that in mind. A nice quiet one. Quick trade review before we send it back to Shree for the last couple of seconds here. QBTS short got out of that immediately. Flip that long, boom, boom, boom. We take some off, we add a little bit more, and then sure enough, we enter another position, take some off at the high. So that's what we cooked up there on QBTS, and then we also traded ETHA. We'll pull this up. I don't know why it does that. There it is. So this was our move on ETHA. Entered, get that volatility spike, we double up the position, takes them off, look for an add, and then we eventually get stopped out, break even. Look for another attempt on that one. It did not work out, and then a tiny scalp there on Tesla, Sharif.
All right, guys. At it again. So this has been a good one to me here, late midday. YYAI, we initially enter, scalp out into 15s. It loses 2. I get back in. We scalp out. We're almost exhausted our shares. Then we get the high the day break. So on the high day break, I add. Which I never do. And then we take it out into 225. So YYAI has got the juice right now. But what it seems to be doing, Joey, is every time it makes a new high, there's an aggressive pullback. So don't look for super deep continuity. If you get the continuity, I guess wait for the pullback is what I'm trying to say, because it's been giving you plenty of pullbacks on the way up. So YYAI 230 high a day. I'm looking at the 5-second chart. I think we're still making highs. Keep an eye out on that 15 penny level. That 15 penny level, if we lose it, we could change trend. There is support initially at 15 pennies, and then there's more support at around, I don't want to give you times because it goes by seconds, but YYAI right back into the high of the day. Here comes that 230. We could get more continuity, I think, if we get that $0.50 break. We're still putting in higher highs over here, so I'm going to try this again, actually. Let's throw in some orders over here into the high side. I'm just going to do these 1 second assassino. Let me get below 214, and that just lost 214, so we have to get out of that. All right. Let's do the ad, baby. What do we got over here? We got top one, guys. Looking to trade futures like the Nasdaq, the S&P, or even Bitcoin? Well, guess what? Top One Futures is one of the fastest growing prop firms out there. They give traders the chance to manage up to $1 million in real capital. And you pick your own path. You can choose instant funded, you can choose the challenge path, or even the pro account, and start trading your way to real payouts and even a live account. In the last 90 days alone, they've paid out over $10 million to traders just like you and have earned over 1,000 5-star reviews from real traders. Use the discount code TTV to save on any account, or scan that QR code, or head on over to top1futures.com and start trading towards your next payout. Shout out to Top One Futures. All right, so we'll keep an eye here on YYAI. Oh, it's already 201. There we go.
Brother.
Keep your eye on YYAI, guys. If you guys are looking to trade these small caps, there's still some continuity in this one. 230 high day, Joey. Send them off.
Yeah, e-signal. Make sure you guys check it out. I don't know why mine's not working, but that's okay. We'll figure that one out later. No, guys, I hope everyone's had a good session. A slow grind higher today, similar to what we experienced yesterday. Some big-time names after the bell as well, too, so keep an eye out for that one.
Peace. Thank you, boys. We're rounding into a big afternoon because we